to a very special Saturday edition. I would say it's a Tearing It Up Tuesday, but it's not. It's a Tearing It Up Saturday. I appreciate you coming to the hippest trip on YouTube. I do love that good feeling that we're going to be dealing today as we talk to Stasha. Stasha Eriksen's going to be my guest. But before we really dive into that, we are going to first let you know a little bit about her, that she is an author. And she's currently also working on a new book about the Mandela Effect. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. And currently she's in Norway. So that's why we are doing this Saturday in the middle of the afternoon, because, you know, Norwegians. But always want to go to Norway. So I'm not busting. You know, Norway looks fun.
Yeah.
So that being said, let's go ahead and dive right into this. And we'll talk a little bit first before we bring on any roundtable panelists. And Sasha, why don't you go ahead and tell us how you got into this path and why you came down this road.
Okay, well, thank you, Dr. Taryn, for having me on your show. I'm really excited to be here. And well, for me, how this really started, how I got involved with the Mandela Effect was I've been kind of known as like a spiritual guide on YouTube since 2012. I've had a YouTube channel where I do healing ceremonies, and I go all around the world and clear out old ruined castles in Ireland and Norway and various places around the world. And I was always just kind of doing spiritual guidance videos. And then eventually over time, I had collected so much research from so many clients that I was doing readings or healings for that I compiled my first book. And it was a compilation of my own spiritual awakening and a lot of my clients. And I kind of turned it into a science fiction book, and it's called Diary of an Asset. I have it here. I don't know if you guys can see it very well. But Diary of an Asset is kind of based on some people who went through MK Ultra, mind control and stuff like that. It was kind of heavy. But I started writing, and then before I knew it, I wrote a second book on animal communication. And it teaches people how to communicate with animals and stuff like that. And before I knew it, one day I had like several clients reach out to me and say, Sasha, you really need to do a video on the Mandela Effect. And I didn't really know what it was. And so I thought, what is this? And then several more people came to me. And I have 3 children, a husband, a big house here in Norway that I have to take care of. And I just thought, oh, I don't have time for this right now. And then eventually, once enough people had emailed me and told me their own personal Mandela Effect stories, some of them were so riveting that I thought, okay, I can't ignore this anymore. And so I went into research mode, and I did the whole Mandela Effect research thing, which I'm sure all of you guys are used to, where you're just sitting on the couch for days, binge watching every effect. And I was just blown away. It was Berenstain, Jiffy, Moneybag 73's Jiffy peanut butter video about Fanny Ann's totally blew my mind. And then before I knew it, I just was writing lists of every video that I saw. And I started putting every Mandela Effect change kind of in this big list. And before I knew it, it was like a 75-page Word document. And I started doing everything alphabetically. And after each effect was collected, I started kind of doing research where I'd have a blurb or some type of a reference. I'd watch videos like yours and other people on YouTube and take notes and screenshots. And I thought, God, this is more than just a compilation I'm going to make a YouTube video about. I think I need to write about this. And so now it's been about a year. I started this September of last year, and now I'm almost done. And the book is several hundred pages. And all the Mandela Effects I'm literally doing alphabetically from A to Z, with before and after effects, a full reference chapter at the end so everybody can go out and research things on their own. And it's a compilation of everybody's research, every Mandela Effect YouTube person, every person who has a blog, Reddit, 4chan, you name it. I'm kind of a research junkie, so I've been scrubbing the net for about a year. And I just really have a great compilation of all Mandela Effects. I thought the best thing we could do was to get it into like a nice, beautiful, well-organized, alphabetical presentation so that people could look at it and not really be able to deny the effect by the time they got to the end of the book. You know, if 1 or 2 things don't resonate, eventually one of those things would. And that's kind of why I'm going to write the book and publish it on Amazon so that the world can be introduced to the Mandela Effect. So that's kind of my quick story of how I got here.
Well, that's very laudable, because that's a lot going on every day. New stuff comes up, and to scour and categorize it. And people have been saying this needs to be done for a long time, and I didn't even know someone was already on the project. So I am glad you're doing this, and I'm sure a lot of us out there are glad that someone's putting it all in one place. I have this conversation a lot that people will say, well, I don't believe in the Mandela effect. It's confabulation. And I always say, well, it's kind of like a bundle of sticks. You can break one argument really easy, like you can break a twig, you can break 10, maybe 15, but when it gets up to 200 twigs, it gets damn hard to break. That when there's 200 effects out there, it's not, it's pretty hard to deny all these things are happening at the same time, that 200 things are just confabulation.
Right.
And so that makes that argument kind of just disappear, because after a while, after about 15, 20 examples to someone, they have a hard time arguing that it's confabulation. And I always say to them, you know what, even if you got 200 of them and 199 are wrong, if one is right, just one is right, that's all you need. Something really crazy has happened if just one is right. So
and I don't think a lot of people knew I was doing this. I'm heavily censored on YouTube. I've been there since 2012 with the same channel, and I can't break like a few thousand subscribers since the beginning of my channel. All of my videos, like, they'll have hundreds and hundreds of comments, but like 200 views. So I think they've been trying to quiet me for a very long time. I'm a little controversial, and I'm also a minister. I'm a Christian minister, and so I'm a little like a controversial Christian, I think, in some people's eyes, because I call out a lot of the changes that have happened in the Bible, and well before the Mandela effect, but just the fact that revelation was something that was added later. And I've really dissected the Bible, and that's kind of made the YouTube community a little bit mad too. So I put out videos almost every day, all the time, and it's crazy how few people actually know about me. So I'm glad that I was able to come on your show, and I hope that more people can find out about the Mandela Effect book and what I do also, because really what I do is a hobby. I'm a full-time ministry student right now, and I do all this writing on the side, and organic gardening and all this stuff too. But I do think this is like the first time someone's ever sat down to publish a book about the effect. And I'm really glad that I was able to come on and talk to people about it before I publish it, because one of the things I've done is I've created a GoFundMe project for the book. And it's not to pay me, but all the guys who do my books, they're like professionals, and I basically pay them to proofread, edit, do layout, design the covers, all that stuff. And then I have a marketing team also that will market the book on Amazon. So if anybody actually goes to the GoFundMe page and donates, I'm giving everybody free books, paperback. I'm going to do it in ebook, like an Amazon Kindle also. And basically anyone that donates, it just goes right to the team, because at the end, when I publish this book, I'm not going to make any money from it. I'm going to sell it at cost, just so that everybody in the community can kind of benefit. So that's really my main goal at the end of this. I don't really want to make money from the book at all. I just want to make awareness, because people just laugh it off too quickly. And this is a really serious thing that's really affecting many levels. It's not just logos and name changes. I mean, when our bodies are changing and our Bibles are changing and the universe itself seems as if it's changing, and we got to look a little deeper. And that's what I'm trying to do with this, really.
Yeah, I agree that it's one of these things that it's so frustrating when loved ones or people you talk about just kind of blow it off. But you got to imagine that you're slapping them with the biggest revelation probably in mankind, that this reality we live in is not real, that it can either be hacked or messed with, or it's a completely different reality. That is huge, and people can't logically accept that. So it's kind of like when people joking about trauma, or they make jokes about getting molested, or or somebody dying, or they handle stuff with humor and kind of blow it off because they can't face it. And I think you have to keep that in mind, is that's kind of going to be some of the response of people. And then there are people that'll get outright angry, because there's always the skeptics, the expert skeptics that they've read some other skeptic blog, so now they're the experts. The skeptic guys drive me nuts. And so,
That's even with a small channel, I deal with at least 20 to 50 trolls every day. So I'm kind of
that
not
much.
even
Do you know how we
20
had
to
a
50 a day.
it used to be really bad on my channel in the beginning when I started, and then I just kept at it for about a month and a half, and I cleaned them all out, and I rarely get trolled now. I'll
You're so
have to,
lucky.
no, I'll have to show you how to do it. Maybe you don't know how to do it, because what we did is a few of us got together and we just kind of made troll-free channels where if somebody gives us a hard time at all, they're gone, and they don't.
Yeah.
And what happens is, people be like, "Well, you're scared to discuss stuff," and it's like, no, just come in and be polite. You can disagree. Don't be a jerk. And
Yeah.
it's the jerks that I have no tolerance for. I don't mind if people are like actually debating on something logical that they're trying to figure it out and learn. Cool, but it's
That's a discussion.
Yeah, that's a discussion.
Yeah.
It's just this etiquette, the poor etiquette on the internet, on YouTube. It's horrible. So I will tell you this, though. It does get better, Stasha, if you handle it. And I can show you how to handle it. And a group of us have handled it where these people, we're just not giving them a voice anywhere. So if they go bug me or they bug Unirock or Moneybags or whatever, and they're jerks, we just ban them off our channels. And if you do that enough, the trolls get tired if they can't get attention,
Yeah, I always block them. I try to block them right away. I can always go and look and see if they have 0 subscribers and 0 videos. They're a troll. But it's become like a full-time job, and I just don't understand why I'm being attacked, because I tend to be a very positive person, and maybe people don't like that. Maybe they like more negativity. Maybe they want me to be more bitter or angry, and I'm just not. I always try to look on the bright side.
You're probably picking up all the troll refugees that have been bounced off everywhere else. That they're finding someone new, and you get women seem to get trolled more than men just because you do. And then what happens is that eventually gets a lot better and stops as you clear it out. It takes about a month or two of clearing it out. But what I am going to tell you, though, is I got to a point now where I rarely get trolled. I mean, it's once in a blue moon. So it does stop. And it is also what you attract. If you start focusing on it, it will go bad. And this is something I've seen a couple big channels make some big mistakes. And like I've had people make personal hate videos on me. I mean, they don't know me from Adam, but they think they do, and they make personal attack videos that are just really mean. And what I could do is I could give it energy and make a response, or I could just take it, ignore it, and walk away. And I've walked away from enough that I just don't give them the fight they want. They want that attention. They're like small channels attacking you to get attention. And so that's what that's about, man. If you don't, it's hard. You're trying to become a pastor, that whole lesson about turning the other cheek.
Yes.
It's easy to say, hard to do. I've definitely had to I definitely had to turn the other cheek on a lot. And like Ban Jojo's talking about, Moneybags has a troll that makes a video, every single video, a retaliation video.
What?
Retribution. And some guy, I don't know who he is, but the problem was Moneybag made videos about the trolls and would kind of fight back with them. And I'm talking to him and I'm like, man, that's just going to end. It's going to lead to an endless cycle. So
I have learned that you don't feed the trolls. I never
take it on the chin.
And I never let it get me angry, but if they're attacking, like a lot of times people will question where I go to school, what my background is, stuff like that. If they want to know that, because I am writing books and claiming to be an expert in certain things, I will present, where I went to school, what my background is, but that's kind of where it ends. The personal stuff, I couldn't be bothered repeating. I'm a family woman first and foremost, and my kids are the most important thing to me, and my husband and all of these things. So that's all that really matters. And I try not to give them back anything.
You got kids.
It's still annoying. Oh yeah, I've got 3 kids.
You got kids. So that's a different animal. You kind of gotta protect yourself more on the net when you got kids. So I get that, but I will tell you though, don't get bogged down in it, because the more you focus on it, the more you'll bring. What you do is just simply take away their voice. I'll show you how to ban them really quickly, and
cool.
And it removes their comments too. So what happens is it's not so much that they attack me, but if they start attacking other people on my thread, it makes it no longer a productive place to talk. It turns into like a Facebook, you know, and that's not the vibe I want. So I hope you I can at least impart and help you with that, just so you don't get burned out and you keep doing good stuff, because someone needs to categorize all this stuff, and I am not that guy. You know, I like having people on, I like having a community, but I don't want to do the research like you're doing. So kudos.
It's really hard. And I luckily, before I was actually, while I started writing it, I was in an English composition class. So it was perfect, because I learned how to properly reference, like down to the T. And it's basically going to be kind of like a research textbook when it's done. I'm hoping it can end up, if it doesn't get laughed off, I hope that it can end up maybe in institutions, or like educational institutions someday. And I have it set up to, when it is going to be released, it will go into libraries also. So there's a cool thing about Amazon, is that you can put stuff into libraries also. So I chose that option, and I hope it becomes more of a learning text and a reference book than like considered some science fiction or new age thing, because that's not what it's going to be at all.
Well, just run it like with real references, and you know, make it like, keep track of your references, and just like you're writing a research paper.
That's exactly how it is so far. It's already several hundred pages. It's almost done. It's coming soon. I'm really excited.
Huge. That is
huge. It's been a year of writing. I started September 1st of 2016, so it's almost been a year, and that's my cutoff date. I will be done by then, and then hopefully it'll be ready to be published. So
yeah, you gotta. I wrote a lot of books, and you gotta just get to a point where you say, this is good enough, and go, because you will paralyze yourself with perfection if you think it's going to be the perfect book, because you will put it out and a day later something new will come out and you'll be like, damn it.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Well, so, and I started with like a small number on the GoFundMe page, just enough to cover one book, and then I realized it was probably going to end up being like a series of 3 or more, because it's ongoing. So people were like, well, you know, raise up the donation and let's do a few books here. So right now, the first book is going to be called The Mandela Effect, Everything is Changing. And that first book is going to be like the introduction to the effect, with all the background stories, like Fiona Broom and all just the whole thing, where'd the name come from, all that. And then it goes into alphabetical stuff. And I'm sharing YouTube comments that people have left on my own videos. I have my own series of Mandela Effect videos, and it's just like everybody's feedback. So that'll be kind of the first book. But then I have, like, the Bible changes alone are so crazy. I have almost 1,000 Bible changes now. I might make that its own book alone, just the Bible changes. It's that crazy.
Yeah, I've been wanting to do.
I'll be busy for a while.
I've been wanting to update and do a Christian show where I invite some guests on to talk about Bible changes again, because I did one about 8 months ago, but I think there's like a ton of new ones. So
yeah, I would love to help you with that.
Yeah, you want to come on, and maybe you can categorize everything that's been in there. I've been trying to get. I'll let you know when that happens. I need to put that together.
Yeah, I'm around like every day on YouTube. It's just we got about a 7-hour time difference, but that's it. I'm still here every day.
Well, good. All right. I'll definitely look in and keep a better eye on you. It's hard as a creator, you know that it takes all day to sometimes make stuff, and then you just don't have time. Like, I have a whole back catalog of my buddy's stuff I got to watch. I'm
God.
2 or 3 weeks behind on Unirock stuff. I don't even know, you know.
My like watch later playlist on YouTube has like over 200 videos at all times usually.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's hard though. We have an 11-year-old, an 18-year-old, and a 20-year-old, and I have 6 cats, which you just saw. They ride the cat.
Right on.
And this home that I'm in right now, my husband's a carpenter, and this is a 1933 home. And it's 4 stories, and my husband and I are restoring the whole house. So I'm also doing that, and I'm in ministry school full time. I'm going for a Master of Divinity. So it's like, I don't even know how I find the time to do this. I have to credit that to God. I mean, it's just as simple as I can put it, because to look at my life, I shouldn't have time for this. But to me, I felt this was a very divine mission that I've been put on. Everything I write about I feel inspired divinely. And so I feel like he kind of pulled me in, because I'm very kind of in the middle. I don't get too worked up on the anger or any of that, or get the crazy vibe. I just try to stay really balanced. And so maybe that's why I'm able to kind of make a nice balanced presentation of it in the end. I don't know.
And you can always tie your goals together. There's no reason you can't focus on the Bible changes heavily through ministry and kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone sort of thing.
Oh yeah, my next class is Old Testament survey, and it starts in a couple weeks. I cannot wait because that's the majority of the changes that have happened. So I'm really controversial in my school. I'm like, hey, so what is up with this? And who remembers the Lord's Prayer? And I just kind of toss it out there. I've never said the Mandela effect, but I do bring up the changes, and my co-classmates and my professors alike are very shocked sometimes. And
oh yeah,
it's undeniable. A lot of it is undeniable.
I was going to say these, especially some of the teachers have studied the Bible their entire life, and they're probably like, no, that's not in there. And then you show them it, and they're probably, I can't imagine the amount of stun of.
Oh yeah, and Christianity it's actually really new for me. I was a Buddhist for most of my life, and this was something that I fell into like 6 or 7 years ago. I kind of found my relationship with God, and it was a new thing for me. And so for me, learning the Bible and everything now, it's a very new thing. And that's why I decided to go to school for it, because I didn't grow up religious. I never went to church as a child. And for me, this is really fascinating as an adult. I'm almost 40 now. So as an adult, to be diving into this so late in life, I actually find it really exciting. I feel like I'm learning something that I never knew. And at the same time that all these Bible changes are happening, I might be a part of presenting something to the Christian community that they had never saw coming. And so I feel happy to be part of that.
Yeah, I think that's a really important place to be for you right now.
Thank you.
I'm getting some comments and questions. And guys, I know you're asking questions that I'm not answering and ignoring, because what I usually do is talk to the guests for a little bit, and then we get into the questions. So if I didn't answer your question, ask again in like 10, 20 minutes. But one of them says...
I didn't look at the chat yet. Sorry, guys, if any of my friends are there.
Yeah, it's too much to keep up with and keep a conversation going. So I usually wait until like we've kind of talked a little bit, and then I start answering the questions.
That's perfect.
But one of them, Banjojo, said, could you ask her if she's reached any personal conclusion as to the cause of the ME? Now, I have a show every week, and I still have no idea what caused the ME. I've got my favorite guesses. But do you have an idea, like in your book or when people ask you, what is your favorite idea or guess?
Of how it started? Well,
or what it is.
It's so hard. That's kind of like one of the biggest problems with this, is that we can obviously see that things have changed, but what is it? I have a few theories. I really do believe that there is an element of this that has to do with time travel. I think that the technology era has really kicked this Mandela effect into gear. I'm a firm believer that we are in a matrix, maybe not necessarily a fake world or anything like that, but I do believe that we're heavily controlled by technology on a lot of different levels. And this could be through things like Wi-Fi, HARP, chemtrails, whatever you want to say. I think that a lot of this kind of artificial environment that has been forced upon us, I believe that could be part of what is amplifying the changes. Much like when everybody gets online in a chat room and everyone starts sharing their ideas, things spread. Who's to say that if something kind of artificial were implanted into our world or merged into our matrix, that we wouldn't absolutely see changes? I had a kind of hypothesis that came to me the other day, and I just made a video about it maybe 2 videos ago. And I was trying to figure out what really was going on here, because I could definitely tell that there was 3 different sets of memories that people had with the effect. By the time I got to the end of the research, 3 different types of realities is really what I came down to. And I thought, okay, so we've got people that remember anatomy A and anatomy B, and then we have people that are a combination of both anatomy A and anatomy B. But I could clearly tell that there was 3 distinct categories of people with different memories. And so I was trying to figure out what this meant. And then I had this kind of epiphany while vacuuming, of all things. And while I was vacuuming, I was like, what is the 3 thing about? What is the 3 thing about? And I just had this kind of divine epiphany. And the understanding that I came to was that Earth was a 3D planet. And I don't know if it's the only 3D planet, but on a 3D planet being Earth, most people think of it as 3 dimensions. And what I was understanding it to be through this epiphany is that we were actually experiencing 3 different dimensions, but only on this one planet. And that if we were bringing in additional dimensions, let's say the 4th or the 5th, which is a big focus of the New Age community, to bring in the 4th dimension, bring in the 5th, we're rising up. I started thinking, is this the new thing, the fourth and fifth dimension? Well, what if those fourth and fifth layers were actually created by some type of AI layer? And what if these fourth and fifth dimensions are actually something artificial? If those started merging with our 3 dimensions at some point, maybe it was in the 40s perhaps, then this is easily what could start changing our reality, because we're merging with something artificial to Earth. And this is kind of ties into my whole background in divinity too. And that's because if you think about it, we're not really meant to be leaving Earth. As human beings, we're set here for a reason, to learn 3D experiences with other 3D humans. So if we use a lot of our time on Earth trying to focus to either through meditation to exit our body or to get out to these other dimensions, maybe we're kind of missing the point. And if too many people have astral projected and visited these other dimensions, maybe when they're doing that, they're bringing some of that memory and residue back here to Earth. So that's just a new thing that I've come up with in the past few days, but it's definitely probably not what a lot of other people think. I do think most people think it's something to do with like black magic or CERN or time travel, but I think it might be even deeper than that. I don't know if that made sense how I described it, but
I hadn't heard it described in that kind of idea. I love it. You know, I'm always looking for new ideas that the AI is maybe merging. It's interesting.
Yeah. And again, I don't know. I do think there's a huge spiritual element to it. It very much feels like a spiritual war is going on. It's apparent. You can't turn on the TV and not see a disaster or someone being angry or a protest. I mean, it's full throttle right now. We've seen destruction our whole lives, but it's really crazy right now. So we're clearly something's going on, and it's picking up the pace. So whatever this is, whether it be spiritual or AI or time travel or CERN, whatever really caused it, the fact of the matter is it's here and it's changed our reality. So I hope by the end of it, I'll have a little better idea. But what I am going to do is kind of present all the different theories in the conclusion chapter that everybody have talked about, like overall, the quantum death thing. Everyone thinks we might all be dead, or the, CERN is a big one. Everybody thinks is causing it, black magic and witchcraft. And so I'm going to kind of put all that in at the end and let people decide what they think it is. But that's my own personal theory, is the 3 dimensions getting merged in with fourth and fifth. I do think it's AI related.
That's really interesting. I dig that. I mean, I've heard sort of that, but I like the AI factor. It's an interesting. I'm pondering it around. It takes me a minute to take all this in, because it's the same thing. I hear so many good theories, and there's some sort of evidence for each one of these theories, and they could all be right. It's like I can't figure it out, because I mean, maybe it is evil forces, like the Christians thinks that Satan's doing it just to prove his power. There's people that think CERN's, we ripped a hole in space-time, and then there's people thinking that there's realities merging. And it's been such a super positive experience in my life. I don't feel a negative, evil thing, but that's maybe just the way I experience it, because I'm pretty much a positive Patty on a lot of stuff. I don't want to scare the crap out of myself and focus on all the negative, but it might be out there. I mean, there's nothing I can really do about it.
And I try to do the same thing as you, to keep a positive outlook. And even when I'm done, even if I'm bringing really crazy changes to people, I always at the end of my videos try to kind of bring everybody back to center again and focus on what really matters. And that's family and friends and doing stuff for your neighbor and just doing the next right thing. It's not hard to just be kind to others. And even if everything is really scary, but to not let that consume you. We should be proud that we see the changes, because if we didn't, then that would mean that we were being, mind controlled or blind to them in some way. And
you're gonna create and attract all this evil into your life if you focus on it. And that's true about anything. I mean, if you let fear take over, man, it'll just eat you up. So it might be real, but I'm not going to sit here and focus on it to death. I'd rather focus on the positive side, that it's affected my life, real ways it's affected my life. And I kind of enjoy the mystery. I'm fine if I don't really figure out why this is happening. It'd be nice, but it's made such a positive thing in my life. I'm okay. Because you know, what's the flip side, Stasha? That
Yeah.
if it is really the evil, there's not a damn thing you can do about it. We're screwed
No.
on that. So I don't want to live in that world. You know, there's nothing you can do
No.
about it anyway. So let's at least, even if you don't believe it, pretend it's a positive thing.
Pretend.
I'd rather live my last days having fun and being positive than being scared, you know? So
It's kind of like what you and Cynthia Sue Larson talked about in your interview. You guys were talking about, or how she was saying, my dog had cataracts, and then I'd say, no, he doesn't, and then he wouldn't. It's all about, like, we can really choose what reality we want to be a part of. Especially as a minister right now, I am dealing with so many rapture theorists and doom and gloomers and people that can't wait for the end of the world. And I hate to break it to them over and over again. I don't think the world is ever going to end. I mean, it hasn't yet. Even if we've been flooded and hit with meteors, we're still here. This planet's still here. I don't know why people would want an easy way out. You got to learn your lessons here before you're going on. That's what I think. So I'm definitely not one that signs up for that we're all dead theory. I really don't like that one, because if that were true, then everybody would be here. That's my main argument. Then everyone would be here. All my friends and family, all my lost loved ones, all my animals who have perished, they would be here. And so that's why I'm not big on that theory either.
Because this is, I'm glad you're open-minded. Some of the Christians I talk to, not that I don't love the Christians, it's just they're very this is how it is kind of talk, where you're at least talking about AI, alternate dimensions, people coming back. I mean, those aren't really heavily Christian ideas, are they? Or has the Bible just been so skewed that maybe that stuff's in there and they don't talk about it?
I think this is part of why I've been chosen and was called to be a minister, is because there needs to be a lot of healing in the Christian community right now. And because I have an open mind and am not indoctrinated, because I wasn't raised in the church and I wasn't raised Christian, I believe that gives me a huge advantage, that I'm very open-minded. I'm a scholar first and foremost. This is like the 4th time I've gone back to college. I've done many things throughout my life. And I realized this was a really big thing affecting the world, was religion. It was causing the biggest divide. It never sat well with me, a majority of the Bible, but I knew that God was real. And so I thought, okay, what's the main religion that's affecting the United States? Clearly Christianity. So I wanted to just immerse myself with it and embrace the whole thing and really learn it inside and out, and use my discernment and my intuition along with that, rather than just accepting what has been presented to me. And much like I mentioned earlier, the book of Revelation is something that was added way later, almost 300 AD. And that is the big part of what a lot of Christians base their belief system on right now, is that the world's going to end and we're watching this script play out, and that death and destruction and all this stuff has to happen in order for us to get to heaven. And if these people would just be scholarly and go back and see who really wrote the Bible and who added Revelation. I mean, it essentially says in the Bible that if you add to this book, that's blasphemy and it doesn't mean anything. So who let that guy, Severus, I think his name was, he was with Constantine in the Council of Nicaea, they added this later. But what other people don't know is that the Gnostic Gospels, which were lost and not found until much later in Nag Hammadi, those were written before a lot of the books of the Bible that we know today. So that's something that a lot of people don't realize either. And in those Gospels, there's a lot of stuff missing from the Bible. That's all I've got to say. So I hope I can kind of be part of bringing the truth out of it. And they might have to rewrite the Bible, because not only is it changing before our eyes, but I think there's a lot of stories in there that are just truly not our history. Maybe 1/3 of it is actually what actually happened, I think. So yeah. I want to be part of healing it and getting the truth out, because I believe in God. I believe a lot of the history of the Bible is real. I'm more fascinated with the history of it, but I think there's a lot of stuff in there that shouldn't be and was added for selfish purposes by man. So that's why most Christians, I think, are very indoctrinated, because they read that book and they read that book only, and they don't look outside of it. They don't even read other religious texts. I've read the Quran. I've read the Talmud, which I wish I had, and that was a dark one. I've read every Bhagavad Gita, you name it, Lotus Sutra. I've read every religion so that I can understand what people believe. And I think that's what most Christians don't probably do either. So maybe that gives me a little bit of an advantage, just to be very open-minded and accepting of whatever people's backgrounds are. I don't think everybody should be a Christian. It's not right for everybody. but it's just what's right for me right now. I don't know what my future holds, but right now I know this is where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, the comments are interesting while you're talking about this. Trudy,
Okay.
Trudy in the comments says the Bible's the most rewritten and edited book ever.
Yeah, and it's
And
hard to admit it, but
kind
it's
of
true.
hard to admit, yeah, because when people are like, I believe the literal word of the Bible, it's like, which Bible? You know, like how much have they taken out, and how much have they added in, and how much of this is political, and how much is not. And it's tough. But I am glad to see the string of Christians coming out that are kind of like your end, where they're digging harder, and they're saying, well, you know, what's past the propaganda, what's the real message here. And so I dig that.
Yeah,
I do it.
It's important because we see there's religious wars everywhere. Right now, we can't say, you know, I don't even think they do the Pledge of Allegiance anymore, because they're saying one nation under God. When I was a kid, we always put our right hand over our heart. And so there's many things that have become everyone's so worried about being politically correct these days. And it's really become an attack on religion. Like, we're kind of being more accepting of religions from other countries. In America right now, we're not even looking at or respecting the people that the majority of the country are mostly Christian in America, and they're just not allowed to talk, and they're very kind of censored right now. There's this holy war going on, and I think it's really kind of just going in the wrong direction. And I think everybody should be allowed to express their own religious freedom, just like freedom of speech, you know?
I definitely have to admit that a lot of religious, not just Christians, are getting more attacked openly about they're not allowed to have the same speech as others. I do notice that. So I mean, it has to be a tough time to hold on to that.
If I accidentally say a curse word, you should see the comments that I get. Oh, you're not a Christian. You said a bad word.
Yeah,
I'm not perfect, but I do my best every day.
Yeah, that's got to be extra tough for you, I'd imagine. My Christians that follow me are pretty cool. They know where I'm at, and they're open-minded, and they at least, you know, I tell them I'm not Christian, and we get along. I try to keep an open door, and I want to hear their opinions. So, you know, as long as you're respectful, it usually goes okay.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot of Mandela Effect people in truth channels and stuff lately. I've been openly talking about Jesus Christ lately too, which has been kind of amazing. I never really expected people to openly start talking about Jesus like in Mandela Effect videos, but I've noticed they've been sprinkling in a little bit more. Like, I've never been religious, but I'm starting to think that, you know, maybe Jesus is real and all this stuff. So there's some type of spiritual growth happening within the truth community and in the Mandela Effect community. And that's nice to see, because I don't care what anybody believes. Just believe in something. That's my favorite thing to say. I don't care what your religious beliefs are, or if you have none, but just try to believe in something, because that gets you through life. We have to have something to believe in, not just ourselves, you know?
Yeah, and I agree. It's, you know, we were talking about this last show that and Vegan had some interesting things to say about a purpose, that I always feel like I need some sort of purpose to feel well, and I know that some people don't. Some people don't have that, but I do. I feel like my life is much better when I'm on purpose, and I feel lost without purpose. So in that aspect, I dig the Christians and the spiritual people that always have their purpose. You know, it makes them it keeps I don't know. I guess you always have a purpose when you're a Christian, you know, to walk closer to God. You know, you always have a purpose when you're a Hindu or Muslim. You know, where when you don't have I guess a structured religion, sometimes you find yourself without a purpose. Sometimes, like I do.
Yeah, and you can get lost in that. And so, and sometimes even if you don't have something to believe in, just service to others. That's what I tell a lot of my clients that come to me for readings. Like, if you don't know what your purpose is, just start doing stuff for other people. And sometimes just little stuff like bringing someone a bag of groceries, whatever. It doesn't have to be anything completely life-changing, but just helping others and getting that genuine feedback, like a hug or, oh my God, thank you so much. That is enough to keep you going sometimes. Just
that's true. Your purpose could be just be nice and feed off that. And that's legit. I mean, I feel the best when I'm helping people. And I think a lot of people feel that way. I'm the kind of guy that if I won $1 million, I'd probably give it all away, because I just enjoy helping people. You know?
Me too, for real. That's why everyone's like, oh, you should definitely, you know, charge money for your Mandela Effect book. I said, yeah, I'll charge you whatever it costs to print it, but I didn't come up with this effect. This isn't my credit. I don't want credit for this. I just want the world to know about it. Because we also are very censored on YouTube. A lot of us, they don't want our videos getting out. So black and white, to me, is one of the best ways to just bypass all of that. I'm sure my Amazon author page is going to get trolled to all get out when I put out this book, but I've already heard it all. By the time that goes out, yeah, I've gotten every comment you can imagine on YouTube, so bring it on. You know, there were also
actually the people on, I was going to say the Amazon are at least a lot better than YouTube. YouTube's
a little bit, yeah.
Like my Amazon comments, I'm not even that scared. But yeah,
I think I only have like one Amazon troll comment. That's it. One negative comment. That's all my books so far.
And I honestly into this, and this is something we're having a discussion with. You know, I used to write. I was an author full time for a few years, making a living at it, and it got really hard to sell a book. I couldn't get anyone to read a darn book anymore. Now yours might be different because it's nonfiction and kind of a reference book.
This one could be.
Yeah, but when you went through this with your other two books, like your first one was fiction, and your second one, although I am fascinated with that one, I want to talk about How to Talk to My Cat.
Oh, cool.
But the second book, did those? I assumed you wrote those to actually make a living, or you know, you weren't writing those at cost, right?
Actually, I did. These have been like hobbies for me. And the first book, it was it was like, can I write a book? Can I get my awakening story in here? Really, this book, Diary of an Asset, it's really like, if anybody reads it, they'll think it's just literally my story because I wrote it from my perspective. But there are other people's stories mixed in, and I just made it all based from the same character named Sophia Snow. But it was really just like, can I get my spiritual awakening into a book and get it out there? Because it was like this heavy load that I just wanted the world to know how I woke up spiritually. And essentially, Diary of an Asset is my awakening story. And within that story, Sophia Snow, the main character, she experiences the Mandela Effect multiple times throughout the first couple of chapters. And this was before I knew what it was. And this was like the time, you know, reality shifts, like Cynthia was explaining, like the reality shifting. I'm here 1 minute, the guy in front of me was there, and then he's gone. She's driving in a car, there's a mountain, and suddenly it turns into an ocean, things like that. So that one was really kind of like a real personal thing that I weighed 1,000 pounds and I just had to get it out. But the second one about the animal communication, that one did a little bit better than my Diary of an Asset book. I think because there's a lot of stuff about MK Ultra in Diary of an Asset, it really scared some people, but that was a real program also. And I wanted to bring awareness to that. So even in the back of that book that I did, I had a whole reference section also where I showed people like how to find all the stuff that I talked about. Even though it's a fiction book, it's all based on like the Hollow Earth, Sleeper Agents, MK Ultra, the Vril Society, Admiral Richard Byrd, Fridtjof Nansen. He was the first explorer to enter both the North and the South Pole, which most people don't know about. He's from Norway. So they're all in here. It's all true story, but it's fiction. So it was a little hard for people to swallow, I think, too.
I think it's a smart way to do it, because I have a book like that is controversial. And the only way the mainstream people can let their mind relax enough is to pretend it's fiction. But everything in my book is real. It's just I pieced it together in other ways, and it's probably the same way in your book, that, you know, if everything's real, it could all play out like this. But but if you treat it as fiction, you'll have more people read it, and it gets in their head a little bit. You know, people let their guard down when they think it's just fiction or a TV show.
And I snuck that into them by the time they got to the end, because no one expects there to be a reference section at the end and find out that all of these stories are actually based on fact and history. And so that's kind of crazy. But I'd say maybe 75% of every single story in that book is real and was mine, but 25% of it is other people. So if anyone's interested, do check it out. It's literally dirt cheap. It's like $1.99 on Kindle, and whatever the bottom Amazon charges. That's what I do with all my books. Like the animal book's $5 and this one's 10. And it just covers printing, because I have a lot of photos and stuff in these books also, where I was putting like the old MK Ultra documents, like the actual documents in here. And they charge a lot when you start adding photos, like brain chips. There's a lot of weird stuff in here. But yeah, it's kind of my whole spiritual awakening. But I know everybody can relate to it also, because it's a lot to do with the Mandela effect. I think that certain people have been able to see this effect for a long time. And one of the things I forgot to mention earlier about CERN was that this book was actually written in 2011. The true stories happened in 2011. And there is a connection with CERN in 2011. And that was the year that they actually discovered the God particle. And I wonder if there could be a connection, because that's when I noticed a big influx of Mandela effect starting was 2011 on. I wonder if whenever they found that particle, if they did in fact, rip some type of a hole in the atmosphere, and maybe that's kind of when a lot of this stuff got kicked off, like kicked into high gear. Could be. I mean, who knows what they did to find that God particle, right?
Yeah, I don't know, and I have a feeling they've probably been doing it. I'm kind of the mindset that anything we see has probably been done already 100 years before. That the stuff we're getting is such old technology out here.
Oh yeah.
I have a feeling they've probably blown that particle up many times through history.
Yeah, so. No kidding. And who knows if it's from God anyway. I mean, I don't know what they're doing over there. I had a medical background too. I also was in medical school in '98. I was a respiratory therapist, was my first life. And I just even learning science and learning anatomy and learning all the things that I learned back then, over time, I got this really weird taste in my mouth about like the medical community and science and all of that. So I just went like the totally other direction and went more alternative with the rest of my life, because I just started to get a really bad vibe about the direction that science and medicine were going. And I was sad because I was very inspired to eventually be a doctor back then and save lives. But I just saw so much stuff. I worked in an ER and I just saw how shady things were and how it was all about insurance money. And I just thought, God, science and medicine, I just don't know if I want to go this direction anymore. So I quit in like the year 2000. I stopped doing medicine. So
you're preaching the choir.
Yeah, you did, right?
Preaching the choir.
Yeah, we have a lot in common.
Apparently.
Yeah.
I have put an invite out to the roundtable.
Yeah.
And you just feel free to come on whenever. You check your emails. As far as I do want to talk about your second book before we really dive into stuff, because I'm a big animal person, and I would love to know how to communicate with animals. And I assume are you talking about like psychic communication with animals, or are you talking about just reading their body language? Or give me an idea what the book's about.
Well, it's kind of a combination of everything. I made it like 5 steps. It's a really small book. It's more of like a guidebook, so that anybody, even children, could read this. And what I did was I essentially made 5 steps to communicate with animals. And the steps, I don't know if you can see them so good, but the steps are, number 1 is listen. And because the most important thing that we basically can do when we're in the presence of our animals is just listen to them. And if that's, like you said, body language or how they act towards us, that's kind of like my step 1. And then the second step is speak. And that is basically how you communicate with the animal. How do you speak to them? Is it with a loving tone? Is it with a negative tone? Is it with a harsh tone? Et cetera, et cetera. So that kind of just goes all into how to communicate with them. And the third step I have is telepathy, because that is the majority of how communication really goes with an animal, because they can't speak to you. They're very telepathic. So I get really deep into how you can open up a telepathic connection with your animal. And then the last 2 steps are faith. And faith meaning that you have to believe in what you're doing, or the animals certainly won't believe you because they're way more in tune than we are. So faith is like the second to last step. And then the last step is just essentially practice. And you have to practice every single day to listen to them, speak to them, use your telepathy, have faith that what you're doing will work. And the more you do that, if you do it on a daily basis, you will open up this never-ending line of communication between you and your animal. And it kind of comes across in many different ways. I actually do an animal communication service for people on my website, and they will send me random questions, and I just kind of from here telepathically connect with their animals and can tell them what they've been through. They've had people come to me that have abused animals, or they've rescued them and they don't know their past, and some reason I'm able to telepathically get answers for these people. And it's not a lot of skill that I have, but that's definitely one that I do have. And that's essentially just how it works. It's just very simple. If we make things really complicated, we won't ever be able to communicate with animals. But we're really like the same kingdom. We're animals too. So if we can just bridge the gap between the human and animal connection, stop eating them and start giving them respect, then I think that is truly going to cause a lot of healing that will spread throughout planet Earth, you know? So it's really not difficult. It's really just the basic step of listening to them, using the right tone, use the right body language, come down on their level when you want to tell them something, just like you would a child. You don't want to be towering over them. You want to come down to them and treat them with love and respect. And you'd be surprised how much an animal will tell you just with their mind. That's really all it is, especially if you have cats. Cats are great with telepathy.
That's right. Keep telling. I keep asking where my cat goes all night, and he won't tell me. So you got to help me figure it out.
Okay, I can
What
help
is
you
my
with
cat
that.
doing? I want to know what he's doing.
I'll definitely help you with that at some point. No problem. I don't know if I can connect with all this technology going on, but I can definitely help you with that.
I'd love to know. I bet you get all that questions all the time. What is my cat doing? What is he thinking?
Yeah.
Why does he keep ambushing me? So let's say.
I just loved how you had him like over your shoulder one day, and he was just chilling there like a scarf.
He used to in the winter.
Yeah.
In the winter, he would ambush me on every video and sit around on me. And once the spring came, he was out the door, and I haven't seen him. I just basically tell people he went off to college if they ask at this point.
Yeah, my male cat, he's been gone ever since the babies were born, ever since the kittens were born. He doesn't even come home. He comes home, eats, and leaves. He's over it. He doesn't want to be a papa.
No. They're annoying little kittens.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, I could see fathers, bad father syndrome. He's a deadbeat dad. And then
I just call him all day, Ragnar. I named him Ragnar after the Viking. And so I'm just yelling outside, Ragnar, all day. And people probably think I'm a lunatic, but can't find my cat.
Yeah. At this point, I say that I just make excuses for him all the time. People always be like, your cat's not in your videos anymore. And so I said he's going to college or he's touring Europe right now. He's backpacking through Europe. He's got a little backpack full of catnip. He's good.
Oh, that's awesome. And if anybody is interested in the animal communication thing, all this stuff I just have like on my website, from the Mandela Effect book to the books that I have. And it's just StashaEriksen.com. And I do, they do these services for people. Like if you have a rescued animal that's really acting up or seems depressed or whatever, just reach out to me. I do everything I do really cheap. It's like $40, and I make it this private video, and I'll go through all your lists of questions. And I always try to give people like organic dog food tips or like whatever else to go with it too, so that they get a full experience, so that even what you feed your animal can change their behavior also. So yeah, so if anybody is interested in animal communication, let me know.
And I have, I don't know if you noticed, Burma came online with us, and if you watched the show, you've probably seen her. She's
I've seen some of your guests. Everybody's really great here. Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Burma will have
meet you too.
Lots of cat questions, I'm sure, but go ahead.
Yeah, she's been yelling at me all morning. She wanted to go out on the deck. Yeah, we have like a little. I let him down sometimes. I don't let her just roam around because she's an indoor cat.
Oh my God, she's gorgeous.
Yeah, she's here. She's a big cat.
Is it a Norwegian forest cat?
I wondered because I got her in. She's looking at me. Okay. I got her in Nebraska, and she was the only kitten there. But they said she was domestic. There's no way she's a domestic cat.
No,
she's got Norwegian forest or Maine Coon. I'm not one of them.
I was gonna say she's probably a mix of Maine Coon and Norwegian forest cat. So you nailed it. Yeah, we got beautiful cats here in Norway. They're all big and fluffy.
Yeah, and she talks a lot. She's got speech. Yeah. She speaks all different kinds. Sometimes she is yelling at me in a very high tone, and I'm like, "Why are you yelling at me?" And then she just starts kind of calming down and doing her just talking regular. She just wants me to pay attention to her.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, they love attention. Cats are a special breed.
Yes, they are.
What do you guys think cat afterlife is, or animal afterlife? Do you think are they the same conscious souls we are? They're just playing the cat out right now for the experience, or are they a different level of soul that they're not as? Do they carry the same cat intelligence, cat soul across to the other side? Like, Are they?
I'm glad you asked that, because that's what the faith chapter in the book is about, because there's many people, especially religions, that believe that animals don't have souls, and I had to dissect that one like crazy, but absolutely animals have souls. I believe that they can choose, just like every soul, when it goes into what I call the world between worlds, when you're kind of getting ready to come back or stay or whatever you decide to do, I think we can really choose what we would like to do and what we'd like to be. And I believe that some souls, if they've incarnated enough time and they just want to come and be a companion to somebody, I believe that you can choose to be a cat. I don't think there's a separation between animal and human when it comes to our souls. I think they're kind of immeasurable. And that's why many cats can seem like humans or dogs. I think they very well could be. And I really believe in reincarnation, which is most people think is crazy because I'm Christian, but even that is in the Bible. So I believe we're always coming back. We're always learning. We have a limited time in our vessels, whether it be animal or human, but our energy never dies. You know, we just keep coming back and we choose. I would love to be a cat next time, really. if there's a next time, I'm going to be a cat for sure.
I always say cat somebody loves, not a cat somebody doesn't like.
Exactly,
You know what I mean?
exactly. Or what do you think about that, Burma? What do you think about
the same thing.
souls?
I think all animals have souls. I absolutely believe that. And this one here, I think some even animals come to us. I think that it feels destined to me to some degree. This one here is like any other cat I've ever had. If I'm upset, she is like right there. She wants to make sure I'm okay. The other ones are just like, your issues, you deal. I'm not part of it. She's very much attached onto me. So I mean, but they all do. I think everything has a soul. I think it's all part of one consciousness, right? So we're all just like little pieces of that, experiencing our whatever we're in, whatever time frame we're in.
She totally chose you. I can see it. She's talking now like she loves you. You're her everything. I'll leave it at that. I won't start doing a reading live, but yeah, that's I can tell you she definitely chose you just by the way she's in your presence at all times. She has chosen to kind of protect you.
It's so funny that you say that, because I go around the house. If I'm downstairs for too long, she then follows me downstairs, and then I can't have any closed doors. That's not even possible.
Yeah, that cat.
I don't even care if I'm peeing. The door gets swung open.
Bam.
She's pretty good when other people are here, but if I'm here by myself, she's like, "Hello, you don't even need that. Just leave it open."
Yeah, because I think we've seen that cat every single show. He's always on your table chilling.
Yeah. They like my massage table. They're like, "Hey, massage me."
Now, are you guys of the school that karma is over? That we're about at the end of this, or do you think it's just going to keep going?
I did hear about that whole karma is over thing. I think that was like around 2012. That one was really heavily going around. I don't think anyone could really say karma as a thing is over, because I believe every single soul is born like every minute, right? There's souls all over this planet. Every soul has a different role and a different purpose and different lessons to learn. They may be picking up where they left off from a past life that was really tragic, or they had done some wrong. And I just feel like it's this never-ending cycle. It's kind of like if you put negativity out, there will be a consequence for that. And until you've kind of dealt with it or faced it and either forgiven yourself or asked for forgiveness, I think that will be an unsolved issue. So I don't think anyone could wave a magic wand and say that all karma for all people is erased, because if I went out the door and shot somebody, that would be my fault. You know what I mean? And I would have a consequence for that. So it depends on what we do with our actions. But hopefully we're at the point where we won't keep remaking the same mistakes. Maybe we're rising up enough spiritually that we're learning from our mistakes, and as a whole we're getting better. But I don't know if I buy that karma comes to an end. I don't know how that could be. That's what I think. What do you think, Burma or Taryn?
I'm right on that same line. I think karma is definitely a thing. Are you kidding me? I've seen it smack people. I have this like story about a girlfriend of ours that we went kayaking together, and I was in I had my arm surgery done, so I had to call myself the Queen of the Delaware because I had two people rowing for me, and I couldn't row, so it was pretty cool. You know, I mean, it wasn't because I would be out there rowing too, but I couldn't. So the girls in a kayak behind us, and we get switched around in this corner, And she's laughing at us, and then all of a sudden, I mean, she's a smoker, so she's got a cigarette in her mouth. I'm just trying to give it because it was so funny. She comes around that corner, it just dumps her in the Delaware. She comes up, she's got a cigarette in her mouth, and she's like, I never had karma hit me so hard, so fast. I was laughing. I mean, it was funny, you know, but it was still karma to some degree. It's very small karma, funny karma. Somebody's got a sense of humor.
Yeah, I see small examples of that all the time. Like, you know, I'll say something kind of cheeky to my husband, and then I'll trip over myself or something silly. You know, just little stuff like that. It's like, don't be rude, don't be quick on with somebody, or it'll come back. Yeah. I think small examples. What do you think, Taryn?
Yeah, I think the more you get in touch with it, the faster it reacts. That if I do something unethical, it's a matter of days before I feel it, and I'm like, damn it, I knew better than that, you know. You know, here it is, smack to the face. So yeah, I get it, but I do think that when you cross over, you have a choice if you want to play this game or not again. Yes. I think that you're allowed out if you don't want to play.
You don't need to keep relearning.
I feel like that used to not necessarily be the way, that you got trapped in this cycle.
Yes,
I learned your lesson. I think that you could.
Well, don't you think that's part of the ascension, like us ascending to it? You know, I look at it as like energy levels to some degree, right? When you're kind of growing and so I look at it that way. That for me, I always say I don't want to come back. I want to be done for a while. You know?
I think many of us will be on our final incarnation soon, and as a whole collective consciousness, that is definitely happening. Like when you go home to the world between worlds, you can stay now. You know what I mean? But it's still your choice.
Yeah. It's gonna sound crazy, okay, but I'm gonna say it. I had a vision that the reason I'm making this stuff is for my next life to find it, so they get a that sometime my next incarnation is going to watch these, and it's going to massively catapult their knowledge to keep going. Like it'll bring them up to where I was when I was gone. So I was just curious. I'm wondering if I'm leaving this behind for myself later.
Probably. There's no accidents on this journey, and everything we've left behind becomes history. And we're making history right now. The Mandela Effect is history making. Like, has this ever been a thing before? All of this stuff that's happening, we're witnessing history right before our eyes, and we're part of it. So that's really exciting. You know, it's up to us now what happens.
Well, that's a great point. I want to bring on my next guest is Unirock, one of my good friends here. I'm told he had an 8-hour stream recently. Did you break a record and go 8 hours? I can't even go like an hour or two before I fall asleep.
Oh man, I did like in the whole day. I think I did like 12 the day before yesterday and 8 or 9 yesterday. Oh yeah.
You have the sweetest background I've ever seen in my life.
Thanks. I made it myself. Hammer nails.
He's got some cool stuff.
I saw him as a guest on another show, but it wasn't that background. But this one's amazing. Next level. Next level.
I'm always pushing the envelope a little bit. Yeah, I've been streaming a lot. I'm starting to think I live in the stream and I'm like visiting the real world. It's how I got to take a break because it's getting bad. So
you're just gonna turn digital one day,
right?
You'll go all Max Headroom. Is that joke too old for this crowd?
Oh, no.
I know. So what does that say? I mean, you know.
Yeah, you guys laughed. I'm wondering if the chat room gets it. If I'm some 19-year-old going, Max, who? What's Max Headroom? Never mind.
I already gave my age away, so that's too late. Oh yeah, I wanted to show you guys this awesome shirt that I was wearing too. My friend Tima made it. I think I saw her in the chat room, and it says, "It's awesome. An ME thing. Think outside the box."
I want one. I need one.
That's a great shirt.
Tima's in the chat room. I just saw her. That made me remember. I'm cut off, so you can't see it. But I made a video on my channel yesterday where I was wearing it and talking about coming on the show, and I put a link for her store. But she's the first person I saw making Mandela Effect shirts, so I thought that was pretty cool. So thanks, Tima, for the shirt. You're awesome.
Tima, Tima or Tina?
Yeah, you were just talking to her.
Oh, that's Tima. Okay, hi, Tima.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Hi, Tima.
That's cool. You're making shirts. Unirock, what do you think about all this? You want to chime in on anything she's talked about with her book, or her ideas about ME, or talking to animals, whatever? Anything's fair game at this point.
Yeah, man. You know, those are all great topics, and it does I'll do the animal thing first. I really feel like my animals communicate with me. They don't, speak English to me, but it's like I can just tell what they're saying and they can tell what I'm saying. It's kind of strange. And I've always felt that way since I was a kid, and I always have conversations with them. And somehow it's like they pick up on it. So, I mean, yeah, that's 100%. I think that I'm wrestling with something there though, because I eat meat, right? I don't like that I do, but I can't get enough protein from other sources, and I feel weak, and at the end of the day, if I work out or something, I feel like real shaky if I don't, and it's driving me crazy because I'm kind of wrestling with this thought that maybe some animals don't have a soul, and I don't like thinking that way. I want to think every animal does, every living thing does. So I'm wrestling with that, but it's more of a programmed. See, because I've been saying this for like a few weeks. I'm really programmed, and I'll admit it. I'm trying to unprogram myself gradually throughout, everything I do. So hopefully I can get there soon. But, the ME, I'm like crazy obsessed with, theories on it. And, it's a great theory. And that you were talking about earlier, CERN, particle physics, all those things, I was just doing this really. So the reason I've had such long streams is I've been giving these crazy theories about life in the last like 5 or 6 days, and then people ask a lot of questions, and then I'll try to end out the show, move on, and someone has another question, and then we get going again. So it's like the topic that never stops. So I do feel like it doesn't make any sense, right? This is what I've come to, and it's like a sentence. I can sum it up now, thanks to my streams, but. It doesn't make any sense that in a universe that is, from a scientific standpoint, not organic. You know what I mean? In a universe that's not naturally organic, that some parts of it eventually formed together and then started to have a mind of their own. And that sheer fact shows me that there is a creator. So then I've gone down every single road from there. You know what I'm saying? I've gone down every other way that it could possibly be. So what you said about, I'm leading into what you said about karma, and it's so true, because I feel like the sole purpose of this existence, the sole reason we are cut off from God, in the sense of, we can't call him, we can't, some people say you can talk to him, and I get that, and I do it, but I'm just saying, you don't hear it. It doesn't echo. There's no like manual that's up in the sky like, oh wait, page 86 says that if I do this, then I'm going to have to pay this much when I die. So, because I've read every manual from every culture. They don't go that deep in detail. No. So the thing is, I feel like that is all for a reason. We're cut off so that we will see how we act in a sense when we don't have the instruction. We convince ourselves there isn't a God. Look at the universe. We're the only ones here, So I think that all that links together, and karma is the whole reason we're here, to make the choice between, even the simplest thing is the choice for you, the choice between good and evil. And that's just my opinion though. So.
No, I think that was a great explanation, and it's so true. I hate when people think that there's like a large group of new age people that want to be rescued by the space people, right? And then there's a large group of the Christian community that want to be rescued by Jesus. And everybody's just waiting to be rescued. And I'm sorry, but if you don't do the work, you're going to be here a lot longer. And anybody that jumps ship, whether it be in Jesus's make-believe cloud or a spaceship, you're not going to grow. Your soul will not grow. And you don't know what's out there. I don't know why anybody is pushing this whole going to Mars agenda. I won't get started on that. I'll be talking for 4 hours. But we have so much work to do here on planet Earth. We are human beings. We are all here on the same planet. And we need to just stay here and focus on here and helping each other. If you see someone suffering, help them. We cannot separate ourselves from another. We cannot sit back and wait for someone to save us. We have to be the saviors ourselves, even if it's just little ways,
You're right, completely. And it's like you get lost in all these other things. It's like you have to do it yourself. I've been saying this for like 3 months, because that's as old as my channel is. I've been saying, you have to. Religion is the thing. I've always said I'll never talk about religion on my channel, because it's all about you. Like if I go and tell you what I think about religion, the next thing you know, you're not doing the work yourself to get there. So I just cut you off, like I just stopped you from growing spiritually by explaining what I feel and not in, I'm not saying I can't explain how I feel. I do it all the time. I just mean, like, I always tell people, don't take my word, you know, go experience it for yourself also. But if you ever want to have a 4-hour conversation about Mars, my channel's always on. Like, I'm always there streaming, so come on over.
Well, I could talk about Elon Musk for 100 years and what he's up to, so I'd be happy to chime in. I've done a lot of research about that guy. I have a couple of videos about him too, and Obama and their obsession with AI, which a lot of people probably don't know that Obama had a lot to do with AI. So I made a video about that too. But I'd love to come talk space with you anytime.
Yep. All right, sounds good.
Congratulations on 3 months of your channel and doing an 8-hour live stream. I can't even do an hour or two, and I'm like tired. So congratulations.
It wears you out. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I wanted to introduce our last guest here, Vegan Warrior. If you watch the show, he's on almost every show. And
Yes.
Vegan, if you want to comment about anything going on here, and there's also a bunch of questions for you in the chat I see blowing by later if you want to address that. But right now, if you want to ask her about anything that she's talked about, feel free.
I just been digesting. It was wonderful, you know. I really don't have any questions. It was more so just absorbing some of the knowledge that she was sharing, and I loved it. I loved all of it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I often get criticized, or not even criticized, but I'm the skeptic, right? But I'm not really as skeptical as people think I am. What I think a lot of folks don't understand about my approach is I am seeking knowledge, right? When I first came to ME, there was already an established idea. It was already a guiding principle of why this is happening, and you know, it's CERN and it's multi-dimensions. We're living in a computer simulation. I mean, when I stepped into ME, there was already people in different camps.
Right.
So I said, you know what? I need to listen to everyone. I need to listen to everyone. I cannot be closed-minded. So much of what I do is I put people's ideas to the test through a logical approach. My background is I'm a criminal investigator.
Cool.
I've been doing law enforcement, private investigations, that kind of stuff pretty much for the last 20, 25 years. And the one thing I've learned from dealing with people is don't get caught up with what people believe, get caught up with what people can show to be true. You know, so I mean, a lot of times I've even labeled myself as Simon, you know, Simon on American Idol. But really,
I love Simon. He's my favorite.
He's mine too.
He tells it like
people need tough love sometimes, Vegan. That's how it is.
right. But in reality, all I'm doing is collecting information. I'm looking at why people believe what they believe, and I'm not judging it. I'm just absorbing it and embracing it. You know?
I wish more people could be like that right now. If more of our society could think like you do, I think that would cause a lot of problems. Most people are just so closed-minded, they're not even willing to question or to research or to present. They just shut things down, you know. So I think that's a great approach. I think it's a great approach that you have.
Absolutely. Thank you. But then there's another side of this. The other side is I'm a person who witnessed and experienced the Mandela Effect. So I have this phenomenon, then I have these beliefs of others. So I'm trying to develop a hypothesis that would be more grounded in our physical world. And I've been looking at mass mind control. I've been looking at hypnosis.
Yes.
One of the ideas that I'm really leaning towards, I'm not saying I believe anything. I'm not in belief mode here. I'm just investigating. Is that what if there was the people that are quote unquote ME have somehow snapped out of programming. And a lot of the rest of the world is still programmed. You know,
Yes.
meaning there's a frequency or something being put out, projected through the media to get these people not to see truth.
Yeah.
And somehow we have snapped out of that, and we're starting to see truth on our own without manipulation of controllers. You know, so I'm looking at that, and that's the one that is really starting to pull me in that direction. So I've been posting a lot of videos showing examples of hypnosis, examples of government mind control, MK Ultra, that kind of stuff. So before I can dive into the spiritual realms of explanation, I have to cross my T's and dot my I's to make sure that we are not just being victims of controllers. You know, that's where I'm at.
You're nailing it, Vegan, because I just made a couple videos about this over the last few weeks on my channel about the hypnosis thing. And my second career, I started in medicine, but my second career for majority of my adulthood was, I'm from Hollywood, California originally, and I was a casting director for major networks, but I cast reality shows. I didn't cast any of like the regular stuff. And so I saw a lot, and I've only made one video about this because it's really, you know, I don't want to get into trouble for the networks that I worked for. But there was definitely hypnosis was part of the final process of editing in the editing rooms. They would set different layers of, well, subliminal mind control into the flicker rate that, like every time you're watching a monitor or a screen, it's like 60 hertz up to 120 hertz that you're flicking like this. And so they're able to kind of put these programs within the different layers of your television, your monitor, your computer screen, especially a smartphone. And those are literally levels of hypnosis. And one of the themes I've noticed through a lot of people that have Mandela effect is that many of them stopped watching television prior to getting Mandela affected. And I've talked about this, that I said, I turned mine off in 2010. I stopped working for television in 2010. I quit. I left MTV. I was supposed to say that. I walked away and never walked back. But then I immediately turned off my television too. I stopped working in that world, but I also turned it off. And within months, I had my first spiritual awakening. And I tell you, it has to be linked because I'm noticing this is happening with a lot of us. So I do believe that many of us, maybe we were always kind of, a lot of us were hypnotized all this time. And now that we're having these spiritual awakenings and breaking up and breaking out of it, maybe all along we were fooled too, but now we're seeing it how it really is. And hopefully, just like negativity or positivity can spread, so can awareness and so can knowledge. So if more of us wake up and we just force people to turn off their TV and put your smartphone down, then more of us will get out of that zombie state. I think you're absolutely right. And that's why I said my theory was that AI has a lot to do with this. So I think you nailed it. You nailed it.
Right.
I totally agree.
I'm sorry.
One other quick point, and I'll defer my time to others, is the shift from analog to digital.
Yeah.
There was, it was literally a forcing. They forced everyone from analog to digital. I'm researching now the possibility of how some people slipped through the cracks when that shift occurred.
Yeah.
Just something I wanted to throw out there. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And analog to digital was a huge part of how this all kicked into gear. Digital stuff, it's got like so much electromagnetic frequency that emanates out of it that's why my dad, even my father, he will go like scrounging through thrift stores to find anything that's analog still, because he just doesn't even want to have that type of equipment, the digital, in his house. So I do believe that is actually part of it too. So I would, if I were you, I'd keep researching that. And if you get to the bottom of that research, let me know, because I may even have time to include it in the conclusion chapter of the Mandela Effect book.
I've got something there. Have you read about the patent that is out that talks about radio waves coming from any object that has a screen, like a cell phone or a television? Yeah. And they can manipulate emotion, So for all we know,
EMF field, if you say if you have a basement, I just talked about this the other night, and you have a box down there that's an electrical box, it can create an EMF field in that area that you can hallucinate and see, of course, see things. You can feel like somebody's watching you, and it's all due to just electric. Then alone, then alone waves that are now from, you know, Wi-Fi and all that stuff, or frequency changes in the television. That's something that when I went through the Mandela Effect affected me. I watched TV, but I wasn't like this person that constantly did that. I was more of an art person, so I kind of keep myself, it's like background noise. But then you start noticing frequency changes in your ear when you're watching different programs. That drives me nuts.
Even if it's on in the background, it still does the same thing. The only way you can really be safe is to completely plug it from the wall, unplug it, or do what I do, just throw it out the window. It's hard, you guys. It's really hard, but it's
hard when you live with somebody else that actually watches it more.
I mean, we have televisions in our home, but we don't have cable. And I think that's the main thing. When you have cable and the cable television coming through it, that is the true programming. It's the networks themselves, and sorry networks, but you know I'm telling the truth. They put this through every single television program, particularly commercials. The editors that work for the networks, they're really the ones that are to blame, because they're the ones that are trained how to do this. And they do layer by layer by layer by layer. And, you know, they're just as hypnotized too, because they're sitting there surrounded by these monitors all day in a black room editing. And it's crazy. I wish I could say even more about the television industry. Someday I will, but I haven't been out of that world so long, and I just still know a lot of people that are in it, so I don't want to expose it too much.
What kind of messages are they embedding in the subliminal? Like, just to watch more of their station, or to buy products, or
a lot of it is not. It's not even so obvious as you'd think. Like, it's not always images like sexual or anything like that. But it's sometimes it can be kind of what Unirock was talking about. They patented this way to basically cause nervous, I'm trying to think, like your neurological system can be affected through it. They can give you panic attacks. They can make you stressed out, make you angry, make you sad, make you hungry. It all goes back to really old mind control techniques that were developed prior to MK Ultra, actually around the 40s and stuff like that, with the whole Project Paperclip. So this is really, really old stuff that they've been bringing into a modern world. So it may not always be actual images. Yes, they do use those, but that's more how they did it in the old days. Now they're taking it next level, and they're attacking our nervous systems, our brains, and you name it. And like Unirock said, there's a, I think it was Richie from Boston maybe that shared the patent on his channel. Other people have, but it's a real patent, and I made a video about that one too a long time ago. I just don't think anybody saw it. But this is, yeah, they're able to affect us, to put us into rages. A big thing that was definitely programmed were the presidential elections, so that there would be a specific outcome at the end of it, and we all saw how that worked. So this is all part of it. You know, it's almost so subtle that they can't get caught. How can you prove that someone's giving you a panic attack through a television? It's pretty hard to prove that. But now they have brought out the patents, and you will see that the whole aim of these devices, actual televisions themselves, especially smartphones, have been designed to stress you out in a way.
Yeah, and
the more you know.
the research I've done is pointed towards emotional manipulation. So it shows that, like, if they want, like, you know, when you watch certain things and it makes no sense, like if you ever watched an episode of something and instead of you seeing this, like, these bubbly people that are being sitcom-y and happy, you feel terror, or you feel really sad all of a sudden. You get up and walk away, and it goes away. Yeah, and it's actually in this really low frequency type of thing, which goes with our brains will operate on LF. So it's, you know, and just like the Schumann resonance, it operates in an LF frequency. And they actually have a resonator that was patented, built, put out into monitors, TV screens, and smartphones that can emit this wave. And it's a fact. It's there. So.
Yeah, I saw someone was actually saying that in the chat that it may not be television based. It was just computers and smartphones, but that's actually not true. It started with televisions. And if you find the patent, it was done like in the 60s or 70s, moving on to the 80s when everybody got their TVs. It started with TVs because we didn't have like computer monitors then. We didn't have smartphones when this patent was created. So it was created initially for television, and then it's branched out from there. In the digital age, the digital age had a big part to do with that, because they could take it up the next level. If you happen to have a TV that's like an old TV, like analog, black and white, that may not have it. But if it has color, if it's a color TV onward, it's been made with the same technology. And anybody can just Google that. The patents are out there right now.
Well, a lot of what I preached on here too was, you know, get rid of negative things, like turn off. I actually got rid of my Facebook years ago just because it's too depressing and sad, and I don't want that in my life. And and these things, what I noticed is when I stopped watching regular TV, like I haven't had cable in years, but what I started doing is watching YouTube for hours a day instead of like, it's like, okay, I'm going to learn something if I'm going to watch something. I'm going to watch YouTube. And I don't have that effect with YouTube. So I don't think they're screwing with this because we make our content. They would have to like somehow insert those waves in there. And maybe they can, but I don't get that same dread feeling as if I go visit my parents and they have the news on and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, you feel it.
It's like, why do you guys watch this? You know, like I get so mad there.
But it's true, like you said, when you choose your programming, which is what we do on YouTube, my husband and I only watch YouTube, right? We choose our programming. And because of that, I even pay for YouTube Red every month, so I don't even have to see commercials because I don't want to see whatever they're trying to sell me.
Yeah, I love YouTube Red.
Me too.
Yeah. When you choose your programming, then you decide, you choose. You're consciously saying, I'm going to learn something today. I want to learn about this. It's so much different than just sitting there flipping or letting something play in the background, because you are essentially becoming like a drone in a way. You're zoning out from reality. We need to reconnect. Honestly, one of the main things I pray for all the time is for technology to break. And I don't mean permanently, but at least for a long enough period of time that everyone could snap out of their comas and learn to come together and help their neighbor again and whatever. Because I feel like that is one of the biggest problems that we have right now, is that we're so connected on here and not with the people around us. And that's really what's causing the big divide. Everyone runs to social media before they'll run to their neighbor's house, you know?
Well, unfortunately, I got a lot more in common with these people than anybody that's my neighbor. I mean, look how far out we are.
Yeah, true, absolutely.
I live in the I live in the Northeast, and I will tell you, low vibrational people. Not vegan. But vegan. How many people have we met in this area that have been like spiritually minded, like kind of like us? How many people have you like truly met like us up here?
None.
Yeah.
Me.
And that's definitely a big part of it too. But I was kind of referring to what Taryn was saying about like Facebook and the social media culture and all that.
No,
I mean, people are kind of quicker to reach out to like Facebook than they would be to like someone in their real life. And that's what's kind of sad for me, especially the young generation. They're so obsessed with the internet now. It's like I don't know, they're lost. I feel sad for a lot of the kids right now.
Yeah, they don't understand real life contact. But I don't have much real life contact because everybody I'm friends with is all over the world. But I would love to have a festival or a get together sometime where we could all get together at least and meet. You know, like I have so much more in common with my online friends than I would ever do talking to any of my neighbors. They're just in such a different vibration from me. So it's tough.
I totally get that. I totally get that too. And here in Norway now, we've had a big change in just like the environment here. And the majority of our neighbors, when I first moved to Norway, were all Norwegians. And then we've actually had a really big influx of refugees from Syria that have come here. And now every single neighbor that I have now is actually mostly a Syrian refugee. So I do try to do my best to get to know everybody around my neighborhood here, but even I don't know my neighbors here so much. When I say neighbor also, I don't necessarily mean your actual neighbor, but just people that you can try to help. I guess that's kind of a Christian saying, like help thy neighbor, but it just means like helping anybody that's in your life, whether they're online or in person, before you're just worrying about your own agenda all the time. I think there's like this, we're in the selfie universe right now, and I hope everyone can kind of get out of that a little bit. I hate selfies. I don't even know how to take one.
So as I'm looking at this concept, I started looking at aspects or what creates a good environment to develop a mental slave. And it pulled me in the realm of the impact of food on the mind, the impact of consumption of water on the mind, the chemtrails and so forth, the toxicity of the world. That your cell phone and your TV and your computer is the only thing manipulating you. I believe that they're creating, it's not a belief yet, it's a suspicion, it's a hypothesis of they are creating a perfect environment to control the masses. And there's a certain percentage of us that have broken free, either through, I don't know, people becoming more spiritual and putting less value in the things that they see, hear, and touch, or for myself, for example, there was a drastic shift in the way that I seen the world when I became vegan. That's why I call myself the vegan warrior. And it all started in 2009. Hardcore atheist, a very abusive, psychologically, I didn't hurt anyone physically, but emotionally, I was an abusive person, this alpha male that I was that type of individual. I changed my lifestyle. I changed my diet. I stopped consuming death, literally. And all of a sudden, I stopped being interested in watching so much TV. Everything changed. So, and I come across a guy like Doc, and they're talking about the Mandela Effect. In the past, I would have never given the Mandela Effect a minute of my time. Why? Because prior to this shift, I thought I knew everything. I had, the world revolved around me.
Yeah.
So I believe that there was an awakening that occurred, not just spiritually. Well, I think spiritually, I always see spirituality as behind the scenes, and there's a whole lot of layers masking it. See, spirituality doesn't go anywhere. It's always there. It's just that we mask it. I started removing the layers, and I got down to my true spirituality. And I think these layers is what's stopping people from growing. And once you remove these layers of deception, these layers of chemical dependency, these layers of cruelty, these layers of selfishness, once you move them away, your true spirit surfaces. And
you got to strip everything away, and then what's left is you, and that's the best part,
Absolutely. So I'm looking at, I've developed this hypothesis about ME that it's more of someone doing it to us versus some type of supernatural force. I've taken that and put that on the back burner. Now I'm looking at how this world is controlling the masses. That's all I've done.
I love that.
If I need to go back to the sci-fi stuff, I will.
Yeah, I think that's great. And we have to take personal accountability for our roles in this, whether we're seeing it happen or someone's doing it to us. It's still just about how we react to things and what we do with what's presented to us. You know what I mean? We could be living in a way crazier society than we even are now. Look at places like North Korea or something that are so controlled. You can't even wear jeans there. I mean, it's crazy. So if we can start taking personal responsibility and not say, oh, this is being done to us, but what is my role in this? And I think that's a really, really good approach to figuring it out or to finding answers. We're going to get to the bottom of it, you guys. The more of us that keep continuing to talk about this, we're going to get to the bottom of it, whether they like it or not.
Right.
And maybe they want us to. I have to say, like, if I do videos about where I'm exposing any type of truth type of stuff, it gets banned, it gets demonetized. But all my Mandela Effect videos, they're allowed to go up for some reason. So maybe there's some element where someone out there wants us to talk about this too.
That's interesting. I didn't know that you get banned for conspiracy stuff, but Mandela's fair game.
Yeah, if I talk about, anything crisis actor related, because as a casting director, you better believe I know all about crisis acting. It's definitely not a conspiracy. And so if I talk about any of that stuff, shut down, demonetize, copyright strike, I can talk about Mandela effects all day long.
Are you showing clips of other people's stuff, or
no, it's just me talking, just like I am now.
There's topics,
Just me.
And they'll ban them in certain countries. That's what gets me.
All of my live streams are banned in multiple countries,
Me
so
too,
I'm glad we're doing your live stream here every time. So that's what I'm telling you. You guys have to go and check out my channel and support me in whatever way you can, because I really think they have been trying to stop me. I've had a channel since 2012, and most people still don't know who I am. It's crazy. I haven't really changed my content at all. So I must have been onto something since day one, or they wouldn't go to such great lengths to keep me
look at
quiet.
all kinds of conspiracy things, and I have not come across your videos, because I'm sure that if I have, I would have been subscribing to that.
It's crazy.
I mean, you sound like a person that, you know, I mean, like, you pretty much got in touch with things. And I'm totally, get that book out about the Mandela Effect, because I'm going to say it's so important that we all do that for each other. And it's, I wrote down your books because I'm totally getting them.
Yeah,
Oh, that's great.
You get it done, come on the tour, the circuit, and we'll pimp your book for you, because I think it is important to categorize all this.
Yeah, and I do come to America quite a bit. You know, I'm from California. I go home all the time, and I travel all the time. This is my home base right now. So if I'm ever in the States, I can do a lot more live streams and fit different timings that I can do stuff as well. But I'm so excited. Like, everybody who's donated, even if people donated $1, I have everyone's name in the thank you section, the dedication of the book. The whole book is literally just screenshots and research from everybody in the Mandela Effect community. I basically reached out to everybody that I could and got permission. And it's just public stuff that I'm researching anyway, so it wouldn't be like I'm putting out anyone's private stuff. But that's really what this is. It is a combination of everybody's effects, everyone's research, everyone's theories, everyone's comments. I mean, my comment sections alone on, you know, my Mandela Effect videos can be like in the hundreds easily. So I've just copied and pasted all the best comments and put them in there so that people can get legitimate reactions to each effect. I don't have as many videos on the effect, but what I do is I try to make very themed videos where I'm sitting down and I'm kind of having a plan for all the effects I'll talk about. So I don't have as many in number, but I believe that the quality and the research that I put into each one that I present is like, I've done all the back work, you know what I mean? I don't want to just hit record. Here's a new effect, guys. I don't like that. I really want to be like, what is it? Let's get the before and after. Let's look a little deeper. What could this mean? Is there a theme hidden in this effect? A lot of them have little themes in them, or clues or messages, I found. So I think if we can really be kind of calm, cool, collected, and take our time with it, we will get a much better understanding than if we just rush to hurry and get it out there. Oh, we got to be the first to talk about it. Who wants to be the first? We got to get it right. It's not about being the first. It's about getting it right. And even if we don't get an answer, at least we tried. And the only way we can get to the bottom of it is to spread it all out in order, alphabetical order, A to Z, with the before and after, everything, and then just let the world decide. And we might very well find out that we are from 3 different realities, and we all have different memories, and that's okay too, but clearly something's going on, you know?
One thing I always find interesting, people, well, I don't say people, I can speak on about myself. I can never recall the last time I remembered that shift occurring. Meaning, if like, my biggest Mandela effect is the Lord's Prayer, right? Yeah, I can't remember the last time I seen her in the book, in the Bible. I can't remember the last time I seen it in the book, but I know that what they're saying is true today isn't how I remember it, but I don't remember the specifics. Right. I don't remember the specifics of the Lion and the Lamb. I just grew up thinking, but I don't remember the last time I seen the Lion and the Lamb. That pushes me in that realm of there's something there's some type of awakening that occurred. So, but we can't pinpoint that specific time and date when the shift occurred. Yeah. That's interesting. That's extremely interesting. Why can't we remember the date when it was this way? Every Mandela effect. And that's why I'm leaning towards some type of hypnosis, some type of mind control, some type of, you know, MK Ultra type stuff. Yeah.
That's actually what I was going to say. That ties right in with your theory perfectly, that there's that it may have always been this way, and that we're just now seeing it for how it's always been, and that we may have very well been under some type of a spell. And that's a big part. I don't ever want to knock the people that believe this is like black magic or witchcraft either, because I don't think people give near enough credit to actually how powerful black magic can be for the people that believe in it and that carry it out. And there is a lot of factors to the whole spell thing and us being under a spell.
Absolutely.
And so I don't discount that at all, but I believe this is like a combination of a lot of things. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, the one other point is the level of cognitive dissonance that occurs when you bring it to light. See, I've done some experiments with people I know and also some people I don't know. I walk up to someone and say, hey, where do you think Stanford University is? And this is my most recent experiment. And I've done this with people I don't know. In this area, in the Philadelphia, Delaware area, almost, I think I had one, I'm gonna be humble and say 95%. 95% of the people that I approached and asked that question, and it's about a sample set of about 15 people, 95%, one person said they didn't know, they thought it was in California, right? Everyone else said it's in Stanford, Connecticut. And that's exactly how I remember it. I remember Stanford University being in Stanford, Connecticut. I remember that. And everyone I've spoken to said the same thing. I even have a live hangout where I was asking the question to the people that were in my hangout. And everyone in the hangout said Stanford, Connecticut, right? So when I pulled up the evidence, I said, no, Stanford has always been in California. They were like, they sat back and they scratched their head and they were like, oh, well, I guess I was wrong. And they abruptly abandoned the discussion.
Right.
There's a cognitive dissonance when we present residual that automatically they run from it. They don't continue to discuss it. And they just abandon the whole idea within seconds.
Yes.
I think that's evidence of mind control. I really do. I've been looking at that very closely.
Yeah, vegan, that's a new one to me, and that's absolutely, it's not California, really?
Yes, I've always run into being. I'm from California,
Stanford's always been over here.
Did you think Stanford, Burma? Did you think Stanford University was in California?
Absolutely not. It's not in California.
My example.
I mean, like
right here. We're on the East Coast. There's people that believe Stanford University is in Connecticut. Now, the crazy part is there is no Stanford, Connecticut. There's a STAM, STAM, FORD, Connecticut.
Yeah, I've been to Stanford in California because I'm a California girl. So I have that memory. But who's to say that you guys don't have the same one? That's why I don't ever discount anyone. I believe everyone's memories are valid. We all have had separate experiences.
Well, I think it's hard when you live in the area and you know the schools that are here. Like vegan, like we know because they. I mean, even the doc probably because we're all on the east side. So what do you about you, Doc?
I remember it in California.
Oh, you know what? Okay, hold on a second.
But this is what's great about the Mandela Effect, though. And that's what I love about it. That's why I think we have different realities because we all have different memories. Something's got to be different.
It's like the Statue of Liberty.
Is there two schools with similar names on the east and west?
No,
it's not
I've
like
done the research.
Stanford and Sanford or
no.
I don't know where.
Not.
I feel like I learned it because I'd never seen it except on TV. And I remember them talking about it being in California on TV. So that's how I've never been to California to know.
Does it make you wonder if not the Mandela effects are the way they are, and then they're having commercials that are doing the opposite of giving you a different reality of that? Wouldn't that be funny if that was? I'm not saying that it is. I'm just wondering if that's a possibility. Of course, I'm on the more positive lines of the Mandela effect, but you never know. I mean, with how much they're programming people. Look at Jersey. I mean, like, vegan, what about for you? Have you looked at the map about how the island comes down to Jersey now?
Are you talking about New York and Jersey?
Yeah, how it now is so close to New Jersey. And and the way I remember it is it's never been that close to New Jersey. I mean, they didn't almost touch. That was like New York up there.
Yeah, Ellis Island's in New York, but if you look at it, They say it's in Jersey now, right?
Yeah, look at the map. I mean, the map just looks, it totally weirds me out. It looks so weird. It
Right.
doesn't look great.
So my point is that when people are presented someone else's ideas, it's instantly discounted, or there's an abandoning, there's a cognitive dissonance. You know, you can show someone in the Bible, like I've done this also. I've asked someone, tell me the Lord's Prayer. They would tell me the Lord's Prayer exactly how I remember it. Then I would show the Bible to them and show them it's completely different. The person would immediately get distance from me. They would drop the discussion. They don't want to talk about it. They run from the information when I show it to them. Why is that happening? I'm leaning towards mind control / somehow we woken up and we remember what was told to us, and now we see the truth. And because we awaken to it, it's like, wow. And it's like a conversation piece that we want to talk about. But the people that are still under mind control is conditioned to not talk about it.
You don't think
that's the hypothesis I'm leaning towards. Go ahead.
Vegan, you don't think it's kind of just like a trauma reaction that you just completely shook this person's world and they freak out and step back? I mean, do you really, you think it's more than that? That there's programming keeping people from asking the question?
It's called cognitive dissonance. Look up that word, cognitive dissonance. It's when your mind believes something and then you're presented with evidence that's contrary to what you believe. And you go into this imbalance of resistance of what's true because you want to believe what's already in your head. And then you create distance from the person that brought you the new information. It's almost like you want to stay in La La Land. And that's a side effect of someone who's under mind control. You got to do the research on it. This is what I've been looking at.
I think you definitely would enjoy my first book for sure, because it talks a lot about that. And mind control is a subject you could go on for days and days and days about it. But it's not a conspiracy. It's very real. It's on many levels. So if people can even just start doing the research about where it began, even just starting with MK Ultra, because they've released all the documents, then that would put a lot of the conspiracy stuff to bed, because it's not. Well, even Bill Clinton came out in a press conference in the 90s and admitted that they had done this when he was president. So it's just people forget, you know?
I believe in mind control. And if the Mandela effect is just mind control, what is the goal of this? What are they trying to...
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying, Doc. I'm saying the Mandela effect is enclosing the people who have awakened. I'm saying everyone else.
A symptom of the awakening. You're saying Mandela effect is a symptom of the awakening.
I'm saying everyone else is under mind control. For some reason, we have snapped out of it. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
And you think, and as Stasha was saying, she thinks it's maybe because we're just a large group of people that don't watch TV. I wonder if that really has a legit, that we don't play the game of society.
It's across the board. It's across the board. Everyone that I watch on YouTube, I'm finding a theme that literally almost everybody, and it's not that they don't have a TV or that they never watch it, but it's about, do you sit there all day? The minute you come home from work, do you turn on the TV right away? Is that your detachment? Is that your entertainment? Is that your relaxation time? Because it shouldn't be. It should be take a walk, take a bath, have a cup of tea. You know, we shouldn't allow that to be our relaxation time, because that's when you go, then it all comes in because you're receiving, you know?
Maybe it's more than that, you know, it's people that have just don't believe the stuff that's being fed to them. I notice a lot of liberty-oriented people or anti-government people are Mandela people too. People that just don't fit into the normal society. Yeah. That's definitely a part of it.
All I'm saying is that there's evidence to support some of this stuff. And I'm not saying it's true. See, one of the problems, and this is why most people are not investigators, they run to the why something is before they understand the who, the what, the when, and the where. If you don't understand the who, the what, the when, and the where, your why has no substance. So you can't explain why something is happening until you look at the details of the who, what, when, and where. And we need to leave the why alone for a second and look at what's actually happening. Once you look at what's actually happening, then you can develop some type of hypothesis of why something's happening. But what we have now in ME is people running to CERN, but they don't know why. They don't know how. They don't know who. They don't know what. They don't know when. They're running to multi-dimensions. They don't know the who, the what, the when. They don't know. We're reaching in straws. All I'm saying is let's pump our brakes and gather the data, and let's process the data to understand what's going on.
Yeah.
My only request.
I think that's great, and that's what I hope to do with this book, is really to present not anything biased with this, but every single point, every single theory, every single idea, and then let the people decide. Read through it. Let them do the footwork. Let them spend hours like all of us have researching this stuff, and then they won't be able to deny it. It'll take one little smoking gun for everybody to notice that they're in a trance or that something else is going on. Whatever that moment is for everybody will be different for everybody, but when we can just keep presenting this information and not pushing it on people, but presenting it and let them digest it, then people are pretty smart. When we don't give a lot of humans credit sometimes. Human beings are very smart people.
Very.
And if we can just take our time to respect one another and let us all do this on our own pace and give people the space to figure it out on their own pace, then that's the best that we can do. Effect, a lot of the community is doing, and I like that.
Yeah, they are, and that's why I listen to them.
Yep.
I listen to everybody's opinion, and there's great opinions out there. I just think there's some other information out there that goes that's not being looked at, and it's tangible. There's some tangible things that should be included in the discussion that are being overlooked. We've ran to the supernatural and we've high-stepped over the tangible world. Hypnosis is real. Hypnosis is real. Mind control through the media is real. So to ignore those facts and say, Satan is doing this to everybody, I think we're doing a disjustice to the investigation. That's all I'm saying.
It's kind of passing blame onto someone else again. And earlier we talked about taking accountability for our own role in this. So I think that's very important to take accountability for what we're doing, but not to blame it on the outside. Take responsibility for our thoughts and our actions and our interpretation of all this stuff. It's a lot to swallow. Yeah. It's a lot to swallow.
Yeah, we're not in the blame game yet. The blame game, we're not there because we don't know who. If you don't know who you gonna blame? It's a what, when, and where now. That's where we are.
Exactly. I really appreciate that feedback, and I've definitely touched on that a lot, and I think that's something that should not be overlooked. You're absolutely right. So thank you for expanding on that. That's definitely, I believe, a very important aspect that is getting overlooked. You're absolutely right.
Just my opinion. Who am I? I'm the peanut gallery.
Simon.
Exactly.
That's great.
Well, I think it's a legit thing to bring up hypnosis and mind control, because some of the weird stuff with ME seems like it's a bunch of dudes from the 80s doing it. They're like, let's screw with 80s culture that only like 40-year-olds would understand and get these jokes. Like we're gonna mess with one or two of our favorite words in a song. It seems so silly what they're screwing with. Yeah. And it seems like it's that generational stuff. Like you don't see too much stuff that's new being screwed with. It's all like from the 80s pop culture. And I'm like, why is that? It seems very random, and unless it's being done on purpose, where they're seeing if they can do it, and this is a test run, and maybe this is they know if they change something that's popular on the internet like that they can monitor to see how many people it affects and how many it doesn't. They're like test runs they're doing.
I was gonna say it's like a test run. Yeah, exactly.
and it seems like they make mistakes. Like they'll change something and then they'll change it back. It's like, oh, we made a mistake. Oh, let's fix it now. There's humanism behind these effects. To your point. Yeah.
There's some jerk atheist guy just going, I'm going to screw with the Bible nonstop.
Right.
Like sitting there and just having fun and laughing about it.
Right. It seems like that.
It does feel like we're being trolled.
Yeah, it really does.
We are. I mean, think about it though. Look at humankind on the internet. right now people love trolling like a sport. They just do it for fun. So imagine you had the power to implant thoughts in other people's heads. Don't you think there'd be trolls out there just having fun screwing with people?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
just watching how upset they could get by changing the Bible verses. Or there's probably trolls that are laughing their heads off if they.
Oh man, I know, and I see some people get so emotionally worked up by it too. And there's not so many people that focus on Bible changes on YouTube, but when I put out a couple of Bible change videos, I was getting attacked by other people who did Bible change videos, and they were telling me I'm wrong and all this stuff. And the main thing I've told people over and over again is there is no right and wrong with Mandela Effect. It's just different memories and different experiences. But there's no one that's right or wrong. I don't know how anybody can say that, because until we know what the cause and effect are, there is no way to say what is really going on. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. How can you say what's right or wrong if you don't see the whole picture?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you can feel that something isn't right. You can have an opinion, but to absolutely believe you know what exactly is happening is to say that you're sitting at the table while the guy is playing with the machine, you know. And
yeah.
That's not realistic, you know. I don't think some of us believe we have crystal balls, but very few of us actually have crystal balls, you know.
Yeah, and if you got one, you don't want it, because it's not good to know what's going to happen in life. We have to go through the changes and learn and grow with however we would naturally react to things. Just like when the Mandela Effect comes our path, what do we do? Do we freak out? Do we cry? Do we get angry? Do we get stressed out and paranoid? Or to me, really, the Mandela Effect to me has been a beautiful thing. It's been so positive. It's introduced me to all these new people. It's allowed me to open my mind about things and question things I may not have questioned before. So I thank God for the Mandela Effect every day, because I just feel like that we're all part of like history changing right now. And even if we find out that we've just all been mind controlled and that's all this was and we've broken out of it, awesome. Whatever it is, I will be happy with whatever the outcome is, so long as we get an answer. Really.
Absolutely. You know, and that's how you do an investigation. You know, you keep drilling down, you get your pieces of information. And it's kind of like getting the puzzle out of the closet and dumping the puzzle pieces on the table. And now you have to find what fits.
Yes.
You know, you don't determine what the puzzle is until you start putting the pieces together. So if you already have an idea and all the pieces are not put together, you could be doing yourself a disservice of knowing truth. Truth comes when the puzzle pieces are put together and you sit back and you say, that's a flower, that's an elephant, or
right.
so forth. You know, yeah. I mean, to jump the gun and not put the pieces together is I think that's part of mind control. Honestly, you know, why do we believe some of the things that we believe if we don't even know the source of why we believe it?
I always say for myself, everything is subject to change every single day for me. Because with new information that comes in, that could totally shift your whole entire perspective down a way, you know what I mean? It can. Right. So if you're just open enough to take all that in, then it's, you know, go ahead, Doc. I didn't mean to.
No. I want you and Unirock haven't had a chance to talk much.
Yeah, Uni, are you falling asleep, Uni?
Falling asleep because of his 8 hour.
Oh no, I've got lots of caffeine. I'm good.
Uni, go ahead, drink another Monster.
He's like, I think it's a screen hypnotizing him. Sleep, Uni.
No, I mean, I don't though. See, the reason I was quiet was because I don't necessarily agree as much, but I don't want it to be an argument because it's a valid point, and I feel that it's a valid opinion and it's a valid option for everything. But lately, I've discovered, just for me, just to put the disclaimer out there, this is only what I think. It's just the examples. I think luckily, I came from the UFO field into all this, and I think that that's what's happened with the Mandela Effect. I feel like, and not to put down anyone's opinion or anything like that. That's the thing. I don't like saying it anymore, and I haven't said it in a long time. But, when we see a little star in the sky and it moves and we record it, we don't really put it on the internet in the UFO field because it's probably a satellite. Who knows what it was, unless there's a characteristic that makes it unique, we typically ignore it. And I just think the internet or YouTube has hit that point with Mandela Effect. I think that's why it stopped trending as much. That's why people got a little frustrated with it, is because there was literally a flood. If you go look, you'll find channel after channel after channel after channel that literally lists nothing but Mandela examples. And I respect them. I think it's an important thing to do. But I feel like we are, let's just say somebody finally gets a piece of evidence that shows what's real and what's not with the Mandela effect, just like with UFOs, just like with the Illuminati, just like with this reptilian agenda thing. When we do find an answer to any of it, it's going to show that 98 to 99.6% of all evidence was absolutely just a mistake. It was just, we were looking really hard, which is good. We were finding things that we thought were right and what was wrong, which is great. But we miscategorized a lot of it, which has to happen. In fact, that's part of the scientific method, and it's part of doing what Vegan said and investigating. So it's a natural thing and it has to happen, but I fully believe that with my whole heart. Does that mean that it's bad to list the examples or to think that this is, that and this? I don't think it's bad, and I think it's a great endeavor. I just
yeah, I agree with you. When you go and look on for Mandela Effect videos, you see all these people, and it's not like people like you, or it's not like people like Stasha. It's not people like Taryn. It's, you have to dig deeper in order to get to these Mandela Effect videos that are actually going to help you, for you to grow and understand what we all, our theories are. Not that it's nothing is set in stone, but when you get all these kids, no offense, because that's how they look to me, going, oh my goodness, and blah 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 blah, and blah blah blah, it does a great disservice to what's going on. A great disservice. It's almost like trying to push people away to some degree, because it could turn them off like that.
I totally agree with you about that, Burma. And I think one of the reasons that people have a hard time sometimes watching some of my Mandela Effect videos is that I do longer presentations. I'm not into this 5-10 minute video thing. I really like to sit and make a long presentation, because you can't really digest this quickly. So I try to present the change, and then I try to give various theories and what this could mean. And I try to leave people kind of with something to research on their own at the end of it, but leave them feeling good, rather than feeling scared or feeling hopeless or helpless. So maybe I have a little different approach with how my videos go down. And so maybe that puts some people off, that they're a little bit longer, or maybe they're more,
I think
positive.
YouTube there's some kind of agenda going on with YouTube of putting certain people up in those spots. Yeah. And to me, that's ridiculous. You should be able, if you were going to search out Mandela Effect, anybody that had that title, and there should be, I don't know, do they do it by likes? Is that how they do it? I don't really know how they really,
it's a highly complex thing. I mean, I've been studying it for a while. It's really convoluted, but it's basically the luck of the draw and a percentage and all this other stuff. But I do the same thing though. When I make a video, I go with an example. I used to go with an example. I'd lead into a theory. I've kind of gone more into theory. I went back to example a little more lately when I do bring it up. But I do that. I think it's a longer thing. So I think the majority of people, and that's why most of my Mandela videos got 1,000 or under hits, where the other stuff is higher, is because, people don't want to see a long presentation on the Mandela Effect. They want to see example, 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 example.
I want to see a long, that's what I watch. Okay, maybe it's your attention span.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean.
People's attention spans.
I'm talking about the majority of the viewers. The majority, that's so.
Maybe not 8 hours, Uni, but
when I go 8 hours, it's on all kinds of other stuff.
But on that note, it's very important to use a comparison that most television shows, most television programs are about an hour long, 45 minutes. So I try to make my videos sometimes up to 45 minutes, because that's really how long it takes. And I think there is a big theme of short attention span going on, especially with the rise of technology and all of these devices that we have. So people don't have long attention spans anymore. And that's a really, that's a sign of being impatient. So if people could start learning to be a little more patient and sit with something from start to finish, then they could have a better opinion by the end of it. People will look at 5 minutes of my videos, hear the word God or something, and turn it off and leave me a crazy comment, because they think they know where I'm going with it. But they have no idea where the journey is by the time they get to one of my videos. Right. The ends of my videos usually have the most kind of hidden knowledge in them. If you've made it all the way to the end, that's when you're going to get the kind of wrap up and the conclusion and the summary. So if people want a quick fix, the Mandela Effect's not the right thing for you to research.
Exactly.
Hey, can I add
Perfect
something?
way to say
Can I
it.
add something? Can I add something? In my research of hypnosis, I was looking at their techniques of how they get the ideal candidates for the event, you know, and this is the commercial version of hypnosis, you know, a doctor or, you know, an entertainer or someone like that. What they do is they profile the most ideal candidates for hypnosis. And the ones that are not a good candidate for hypnosis, they isolate, right? They remove them out of the scenario. So they find the ideal people for hypnosis, put them on stage, and they go through the process. Now, when someone isn't deeply under in hypnosis, they reprogram that individual to be under. So now think about what we just talked about. We talked about when we put out Mandela Effect information that we are being put in a certain category. We're being isolated, right? While the rest are going to other topics. I just think I see a correlation with all of this stuff, you know, with or a potential correlation. I want to say I see or I know, but it's consistent with mind control or hypnosis.
Yes. Yeah, that makes sense.
Now, it's a reason why our videos that deal with the intricacies of the Mandela Effect are being isolated. That was the point I was trying to make. I think it's being done deliberately.
Yes.
You know, it's one thing to have a certain percentage of people that have awakened. It's another thing to allow those who have awakened to awaken the masses of others. So let's say my theory is true, right? Let's say you're the controller, allowing this mass hypnosis to occur. You have percentages and pockets of people who are not under control, right? They're free thinking, they're under control. What would you do with those individuals? You would isolate them from the masses of those who are under control. That's the point. I'll leave it. I'm sorry, I'm getting too wordy. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. I think that's why my videos get blocked. So that was a good explanation.
I think so also.
That's good.
Yeah, but I don't get why they're not blocking like the I'm shook teenage girls who cuss their mouth off videos. You know,
That's what they want.
Because
That's
it
what they
gives
want out there.
gives this a disservice. It gives the Mandela Effect a disservice to some degree to say, oh, it's not real, move on. It's like putting a conspiracy label on it to some degree, just in teenage girls.
Well, I heard, I mean, I basically heard someone say, I can't believe you guys turned an internet meme into like a movement. And I was like, it's not an internet meme.
And as far as I'm concerned, the people who are really trying to search this out were out there far longer than these girls who have, or guys who have decided to do these type of videos, which I can't even watch.
And also we got to look at what audience we have though on YouTube. I mean, that's one thing that I've been going in the last few days in and actually watching a little YouTube, which is something I typically don't do. I just watch the channels that I watch, you know, I don't go in, you know, a lot to other stuff. And that's what the audience is. It's a lot of a younger crowd. And I mean, the millions and millions and millions, the ones that determine which one is, you know, viral. So if you don't have something pushing the older crowd in, like, you know, the thing that happened in London and, you know, when we've had other news stories pop up, that's where you see like our age crowd come in, I guess, more, at least in the trend, at least in the data.
Yeah. I mean, you're right that I think there's a lot more younger users that want just like mindless babble.
Entertainment.
Yeah, I got to keep that in mind, that the people that would be attracted to this show are a different kind of person that there's just probably not a lot of.
Right.
You know,
It's a minority.
I got 45,000 subscribers and we got 110 people watching right now.
Right.
You telling me something's up, you know, or maybe these just aren't topics that people want to talk about. It's so niche.
Or maybe it's Saturday and it's summertime in the U.S. I don't know.
Or maybe it's probably me.
It doesn't matter. No, it doesn't.
It's not you.
It doesn't matter what I do. I mean, I've got a lot of subscribers and nobody sees my stuff, so I don't know what's up.
Welcome
I
to
have
my
hardly
life.
any, so hey, I got no subscribers, so it's okay.
Yeah, but you get a good percentage of live streaming. Like, you might only have, 2,000 subscribers, but you got 100 people watching your show. That's significant. That's a huge portion where, you
They
haven't
hang on
seen.
for 8 hours, man. You got some people. That's all I gotta
you
say.
got some serious street cred,
Dedication there.
I don't know. Like I said, maybe there's just a small audience that's into this, and it's nothing. I'm making it out to be more. I don't know.
You are definitely.
To be honest, I actually am glad that my channel's not very big, because it allows me to have, get to know people on a more intimate level
Me too.
through the comments or through the emails. And I couldn't have written this book if it wasn't for my amazing subscribers, even if I only have like 3,000. These are the people that watch my videos, every single video that I put up, and they give me great feedback, and they've sent me their private stories, and they've sent me their Mandela Effect pictures before and after. They trust me with this information because of the way that I handle it. So I'm glad that it's a little bit smaller. I think if it was too big, then I maybe would be distracted or overwhelmed, or maybe it's heaven sent that I don't have like a huge following, because I can kind of, get to know my subscribers a little bit too.
It gets to the point where I've been big and small, and right now we're in a small wave. And when you're big, you just can't answer, 500 comments. You can't read them. People think you're ignoring them, and you just can't get to that.
Trust me, I'm there right now. It's my first time having that experience.
Oh yeah, you had something viral, right?
Yeah, I can't catch up. There's comment, like I've just had like 100 since I've been on here. Like, it's crazy.
What did you go viral about?
The London fire. I was reporting on it and streaming on it a lot, and had a video take off. Yeah.
I reported on the Manchester attacks a couple of weeks ago, and just let everybody know about crisis actors, and kind of outed my past working for television. And it was the most heavily attacked video in the world. And yeah, I've never had a copyright strike, but they were like, or I've had a few, but not the ones that hurt you, but that I got the ones that were hurting me one after the other, because I also covered that one of the girls that was apparently missing on the missing list from the Manchester attack was a girl that had been dead for 7 years, and her mother saw her picture, not just her name, but her name and her picture on this missing children list. And she went to BBC News, and she said, "That is not my daughter. My daughter died 7 years ago. How dare you?" And so I covered that, and I got crazy banned. Like, it was so bad. And I just covered a BBC article. It wasn't any theory I had or anything. If you talk about any of this stuff, you are shut down immediately. So I just switched back to Mandela effects. I think enough people out there are helping with the truth community and the crisis actors and the false flags. That's not my specialty. I know it's there. I've been part of it, but I'd rather focus on something more positive. So that's why most of my content is Mandela Effect related.
The same thing happened in Sandy Hook. They put up pictures of one of the kids, and it was a dead child.
So there you go. They're playing with our emotions. It's really sad.
Well, it's ironic that we both, you guys just talked about 2 viral videos, because my one viral video was based on the Facebook killer. I put some stuff out about the Facebook killer, and it went crazy viral. Why is it that the stuff that's on TV is the stuff that goes viral?
The negative stuff. It's the negative.
The negative stuff that's on TV, that's the stuff, the source of the YouTube viral video.
Because what gets people fired up, you know what I mean?
Like, they type it in the computer when they see it on TV.
It gets them fired up. It gets that emotional, what they're looking for.
And I would add to that.
Yeah.
I would add to that. That's where the most mind-controlled people are.
Yeah.
Watch the news.
It's a very narrow thing. Like, I started this channel out, I guess 8 years ago, doing libertarian news. And I could, at any time, if I ever really wanted to, all I had to do was talk about the candidates running, and it would get me like a ton of hits. But it was such like pandering to the lowest the lowest common denominator of news. And it's like, all I'm doing is adding to this mindless red versus blue BS. And and so it hurts me. Like, I don't ever touch any political topics anymore, because I think they're just it's so not who I am and what I care about. And it's tough though. So I know if I played the game, I could get a lot more hits.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Because you'll be in direct support of the machine.
Yeah.
Once you're in direct support of the machine, all of a sudden you get more views, you get more money from YouTube.
Well,
They are
YouTube
in
tells
direct
us that all the
support.
time. Yeah,
You
I
know,
get messages from YouTube telling me what to do. I'm not even kidding.
Right. So you're in direct.
Hey, when you do that?
You become an agent of what they want to be put out to the public, and you know. So I think our small numbers, we should be grateful, because that's letting
I
us
feel that
know.
way too.
I mean, I'm not saying that we're not grateful, but what I'm saying is that's an indicator that there's other conscious people out there, and that, in my opinion, most people are caught up in the unconscious state of the delusion of media. You know, and we could join in, or we can keep doing what we're doing.
I think the people that you guys are reaching are the ones that need to be reached. You know what I mean? And when it needs to happen, it'll get bigger, you know?
You know what's crazy too is there's this huge thing on Twitter. Did you know that Twitter tweets can be monetized? And all these people are monetizing their Twitter tweets. And then when these tragedies happen, the missing people ended up being propagated on Twitter. And all these companies, like I was clicking back during my live stream to who was actually tweeting this missing list of people. And it ended up being like, I don't know, 90% of them were companies that said like, you know, something viral marketing or, you know, blah, blah, blah marketing. It was a person that had a major, that, you know, you follow me, I'll follow you. They get, you know, 500,000 followers on Twitter, and then they try to get a lot of tweets and hits so they can make a few cents. And that's what they did. And every retweet pays them you know, it's so strange, but that's one thing that propagated all that missing people stuff in the newest tragedies, like the Grande one and stuff.
I didn't even know you can make money with Twitter.
You can monetize it.
Yeah,
Wow.
I never knew that either.
I don't even know anyone that uses Twitter. I thought it was dead.
Oh, it's awesome. I love
Only,
it.
only Donald Trump uses. I think Trump's the only one that uses Twitter.
Take Twitter. You take Facebook and take out all the junk, and it's Twitter, because you can only put like, you know, a sentence. So you have to choose real carefully what you say. So it's really cool. It's like a bunch of little things. So
Fair enough. All right,
all the junk out.
I'm going to start wrapping the show up because Stasha's in Norway and she's getting tired. And Stasha, but we are going to invite you, of course, to come over to the chat room for a few minutes, hang out at the Afterglow, because lots of people want to say hi and ask you questions. And I believe a few people bought your books while we were on the show. So
What? Oh, you guys think
they were saying in the chat room they just went and bought your book.
I know it doesn't look. I know it doesn't look late here, but in Norway we have the midnight sun, so it's actually almost 9:30 p.m. And this is.
Yeah, I was gonna say
my outside
going
window.
to bed in the middle of the day. What?
Isn't that so crazy? It's such a weird adjustment, but yeah, so it's literally almost never guess it. Only in the summer do we have this, so it's a special thing really. But I have had the best time on the show. You guys are so amazing. I would love to come back anytime, and I really hope that some new people were able to find my research today and I can connect with more of you, because I really just love the audience here. I feel like everybody's kind of on the same wavelength. Whether we have different opinions or not, I think it's great that we can sit and discuss like this. This is how we make progress as a community. And I'm so honored to be here, and I'm just humbled, and I really appreciative of it as well.
I appreciate you coming. It's been a lot of fun. And once you've been a featured guest, you're welcome to come back as a panelist anytime you want to stay up late and hang out with us. Cool. I am going to try to also start doing maybe some earlier shows once in a while. I'm just on my game a lot more in the mornings than at nights.
And for me, I get tired by the end of the day, so I'm less on my game now than I would be in the morning. So I totally understand.
And I couldn't imagine, because you seem pretty much on your game to me. So
Yeah.
could you imagine her on a day that she's like really got going?
I got you.
No. I've been working all day. This is like my evening time. So, but it's been great. I just love to speak with like-minded people, and I'm just honored that you had me on, Taryn, and everybody here on the panel has been great. Unirock and Vegan in Burma. It's so great to meet all of you guys, and I'll check out your channels. Please come over to mine. And this is how we get answers, guys.
These guys are like great video things. I have like one, and it's just pictures, and that's what I'm coming up with in like 2 months. Otherwise, I just come on and I do my massaging thing and just kind of keep it at that for right now until I get a hair under my butt.
Let me finish my housekeeping, and then we'll give you guys your last words. I do want to thank the people that donated, and I was surprised to get donations today. I really appreciate it.
Cool.
Yeah, Banjojo, Raw, glow. And of course, Michelle donates every week. I really appreciate that. It keeps the lights on here. So thank you. Also, since YouTube kind of stinks for us full-time creators, if you're going to buy something, I really appreciate it if you go through the Amazon link first. It helps keep the lights on here, and it's really been working well. It's making up the difference for us YouTube creators. So please remember to go through our link before you go to Amazon, then shop away. The other thing I was going to ask you guys was that I'm going to invite you over to the chat room, the Afterglow chat. We'll continue yakking there. If you guys could drop some links, my moderators, and thank you guys for modding today. I really appreciate it. If you'll drop the link in there, if I don't see it, I will, or Michelle's on. Okay, Michelle, if you wouldn't mind dropping a Discord link, I'd appreciate that. Okay, so let me go around the room, give you guys your last words, and I'm going to start with ladies first. We'll go to Burma. You got 2 minutes to say whatever you like.
You go to me first. Well, I just want to say thank you. It's been interesting. It was very nice to meet you, Stasha. Stasha, am I saying it right? I'm saying that right?
Stasha.
Stasha.
Yeah.
Okay, Stasha. And of course, Uni, amazing. I mean, like 8 hours. You're just insane. And vegan. I love vegan.
I'm a troublemaker.
Where's the hat today, vegan? I love it. I love all your passion. And of course, Karen, thank you for having me on as always. And I can't wait. I can't wait to we go like 3 days.
3 days. We'll be hanging out at Pork Fest.
I know, I'm excited.
Looking at you, vegan.
Thank you for having me on. Yeah, vegan.
We're both giving you the stink eye, vegan. Gotta be going. We're going to this festival. A few of us ME people are meeting up in the Northeast, going to this festival next week. And
Cool.
we've been trying to get vegan to go, and he's sitting on the fence. So we're giving him the stink eye.
Yeah, fence
I
sitter.
will go if we can find Stanford University in Connecticut.
Oh,
You know what?
Burma, get ugly.
You're not that far from me. I will find you. I will find you.
All right, vegan, go ahead and take your last words, even though you're going to tell me you don't need all the time. Go ahead.
I don't need all the time. Because I said it all. I really enjoy everybody's perspective. I mean, see, I think one of the problems that we have as human beings on this planet, we get so caught up with our ideas that when we hear other ideas, it makes us feel uncomfortable. I think we need to get rid of that. I think our evolution is about absorbing information. And I think, who was it? Was it Aristotle or somebody? They said an intelligent person is a person who can discuss anything without necessarily embracing it. I think it might have been Plato. One of those guys said that. And I think it's true. Intelligence is all about being able to always leave the book open and look at the information that you have before you. Now, you don't necessarily have to believe everything. And I don't believe truth lies in just one person. I think truth is within all of us, and the collective consciousness as a whole is truth. So if you believe that one individual has all truth and that there's some type of Walmart in the sky for truth, I think you're delusional. I think even the people we don't like embed truth. But when we shut ourselves down and not open to the realities of people in the world itself, we limit ourselves. I believe, and I'll leave it at this point, that our true evolution is when we can embrace others unconditionally without judgment. You know, get past the layers and get down to the spirit of the person, because that's where truth lives. That's all I got.
Amen.
All right, let's jump it over to Unirock. Go ahead and give us your parting words.
Thanks, Doc. No, it was great meeting everybody, and I agree completely with vegan. It's always good hearing other perspectives. I can't wait to see your videos, Stasha. It sounds awesome. I love theories. I love hearing what people think about these things that are going on around us, and I think it'd be awesome. I do this thing on my show. It's called Check Out That Chan Chan. We're gonna go live tonight, and I'm gonna check out your Chan Chan live if that's cool with you. Try to get my steps to go.
Oh my God, thank you. Yeah, it really means a lot to me. I've never been one that's like pushed my channel because I just assume people will find me divinely. So anytime that someone that I respect their work wants to share my research, that makes me very happy. That's why I do this. This is my hobby. It's not my full-time job. I do this on the side. So it means the world to me, really. Thank you.
Oh, anytime. And anyone out here watching, you know, when you're sitting at the house and you're like, man, I'm bored, I'll be streaming. I guarantee it. So come over and say hi.
You streaming tonight, you said?
Oh, yeah, every night.
What time should they look for you tonight?
Let's go for like 20 minutes from now until like noon tomorrow. I'll be streaming.
What?
So. I'm just kidding.
It's going for a marathon 12 hours.
No.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna stream for like 4 or 5 hours. I got to be conservative tonight. So
You should do like a
4 hours is conservative.
I know, it's like those Jerry Kid marathons or something. Like, you want to come back to our show, we'll let you come back after you donate $10. Then you can see the rest of, you know, North Pole.
if the North Pole still existed, it doesn't exist.
That's
anymore.
what I was trying to make a North Pole joke, but I put it out.
Hello.
But
I live here. It's gone. I live here. I'm in Norway, remember?
Oh yeah.
It's gone.
You still got the lights? You still got polar bears?
No. We have reindeer, a lot of reindeer.
Ah.
All
right.
the snow is gone. Sorry.
So, and yeah, I'm gonna suggest, Stasha, you should go definitely do Uni's show sometime. You'll have fun there. So you guys should hook up on that.
And if you do check out my Chan, I would suggest checking out a playlist on there that I have that's called The News You Need, because on there I report only the news we need, not what's being fed to us. That's where I've got the Elon Musk and the Obama stuff, and Mandela Effect playlist, and I've got a lot of variety. So I think you'll have fun with that.
Cool.
Yes, and I still want to come talk about Mars for sure.
Hey, it's a date. We'll do it.
Okay.
All right, and Stasha, you have 2 minutes to say whatever you'd like to end this. And I have pimped if you guys are watching this later on, you'll see her YouTube channel in the description below, and that'll take you to everything else she does. So
yeah,
go give her some channel love.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. I just want to, again, thank you first, Dr. Lupo, for bringing me on. I really appreciate your message and the hard work and dedication that you put to YouTube and bringing such great people together. I really appreciate it. We need more people like you out there. And Burma, you're amazing. Can't wait to talk to you about your cat someday. And Unirock, you're really cool. And I loved also how passionate you were about the mind control vegan, because whenever I talk about that, people shut me down, like the cognitive dissonance thing. So I really appreciated that you expanded upon that. And overall, I also want to thank everybody who showed up in the chat room. I'm so sorry that I haven't been able to multitask as much. This is my second live stream ever, so I'm not so high tech. But thanks for all the kind words. I saw multiple times that I was called Lara Croft from Tomb Raider. I get that one a lot. Surprisingly, I don't know where that came from, but that was really funny. That
you do look like her a little bit. I was gonna say the same. I'm sorry. I used to play that game. I used to love that game. So yes.
Yeah, take it as a compliment.
It is a compliment. Total
Definitely
compliment.
No relation to Angelina Jolie, trust me. But I really appreciate you guys. You're all so awesome. And yes, as far as the Mandela Effect book goes, if you go on my website, StashaEriksen.com, there's a books tab on my website, and on there is like a little link to the GoFundMe project. And the main thing that if anybody donates to the project, I have like different incentive blocks. So for those of you that donate different amounts, you'll either also, like, kind of no donation just is a donation. Everyone will receive a Kindle ebook or a paperback book. You'll be included in the dedication section of the book itself before I print it. Just the more donations that we get on there, the more volumes of this research I can keep putting out. I pay like $5 per 1,000 words that I have proofread, so it gives you an idea. I don't even know how many words this book is. So if anybody does help donate to that project, it'll just help these books continue to come out, because the research that I have is so extensive at this point. I really think it's at least 3 volumes. So the more that you guys reach out to me, share me your own Mandela Effect stories, your own residual evidence, your stories become part of this book if you want it to be. So contact me to be part of history, because this is really our story. This is our book. It's not mine. I just happen to have a team that can put it together and put it on Amazon. but I want us all to really, stick together on this. And I think this could be the beginning of a really big change in history, and just for our just humanity in general. I think we're about to witness something amazing. And I don't see this to be anything negative or the end of the world. I think we're going to keep living. We're going to keep seeing positivity. And if we just think that way, then our minds are so powerful and we really can do anything. And so don't attack each other. Don't separate yourselves from anybody. Just listen and give everybody the benefit of the doubt, because we all deserve respect and an ear and some time. So I just want to leave with that. And I just love you guys. I love everybody who comes to my channel and who listens with an open heart and an open mind. And I think that's really it. I will definitely stop over and chat with you guys a little bit too at the end here.
Yay. Okay, we'll give you the link.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for coming on today. And this was fun to do on a Saturday afternoon. We'll probably do another one of these. Remember, my channel's going to be kind of quiet next week because we're going to be at that festival hanging out. And if you're in the Northeast, it's not too late to get a last-minute ticket. Come hang out with us.
Too late, vegan.
That's right, Porcupine Freedom Festival. It's a lot of fun. So stay positive, support each other, and be nice to your cat. I will see you in the chat room. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Peace.